Hello there, and welcome to the Baka Gaijin Show. I'm your lovable rascal of a host, Siegfreak, and with me, as always, is my intravenous co-host, Kevin Faulkner.
Gonna be injecting Kevin directly into your veins.
Yes, he's gonna be like Arnold in that episode of The Magic School Bus.
Arnold!
We all remember that, right? Oh.
That was the show back in the day.
Please let this be a normal podcast.
With Siegfreak? No way!
And me being on a podcast, no, this won't be normal, but I mean that in a positive way, of course.
Speaking
And
of...
welcome our special guest on the third mythical passenger seat on the cosmic journey that we are heading on. Whatever I usually say. It's mindzmirrorz.
What's good? What's good, guys? I've never been on a podcast before, so if anybody who reads my shit is out there, shout out to you. I'm not naming names because there's too many of you, but
Yeah.
I'm here. What's up? It's so strange because you're actually the first people who have ever said my screen name out loud. Like, it's just crazy. I didn't think this would happen at any point in my life, but here it is.
Yeah. It's always
Also
a shock.
about the loudness thing. I'm just naturally loud voice, so that's something I try my best to control. But don't be surprised if I break somebody's speaker with the way I'm speaking.
Well,
Yeah.
I got the levels. I got the levels about right, so you shouldn't have to worry about that much.
Yeah. You call it
Yeah.
loudness, we call it boldened passion.
Yeah, there's a difference between like being loud because you're passionate and being loud because, well, you want to act like you're the smartest person in the room.
Mm-hmm.
I always like to say that sometimes the loudest person is either the person that knows that knows the least or knows the most. There's no in between.
Yep. So if you don't know Minds, he's a blogger on the Danganronpa Amino, writes many blogs about various topics related to the series, and sometimes only very tenuously related to the series, but they're all very entertaining nonetheless.
I basically find loopholes in the guidelines. They might as well give that title to me or something like that.
Yeah,
and I don't just do blogs though. I do a little bit of everything, but I'm basically known for the blogs because that makes up about 75% of what I do. But I'm verified as a writer on there because I do a bit of everything. But that's basically how it is.
I'm verified as a former Daily Despair editor, even though I only did 2 issues.
Wait, I think I might have seen that. It said like retired DD. The DD means Daily Despair. Yeah.
Daily Despair is the not at all daily newsletter for the Amino. I did.
You know what's funny? I was actually not you first.
Oh, sorry. I came on as a article writer for like 2 issues, and I'm like, fuck this. It's taking away too much time from my projects.
I was actually interviewed by them last September, and like 6 months later it died. So it's like Daily Despair definitely dead.
Yeah, they're having.
I know some of the curators are trying to revive some of those like magazines and shit. I hope that's successful because I kind of miss reading those. That's part of why I started doing interviews pretty recently because I kind of missed the void that was not being filled by the lack of those magazines. So in fact, I actually interviewed Zeke for that. It was via Twitter. I just kind of asked him some questions and shit.
Yeah,
that was pretty.
Yeah, I remember that. That was actually a pretty fun article to read.
The grammar was all kinds of fucked up when it first got published because I just copy and pasted everything. But luckily though, like people usually see the most polished version of my works when they tune in later. Because sometimes I'll have this like embarrassing little error. I'll misspell like one word or have like one period missing, and I'm like, oh shit, I hope nobody saw that. Let me go back.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, I write on the desktop version of the app directly, so they don't have any automated spell checking or nothing like that.
Okay.
So I'll script through it. I'm like, okay, this looks fine, and then I'll see like 3 hours after it's published, I'll see like one missing period, and I'll just think the world is ending.
Yeah. No, that never stops. I go back to my old stuff all the time, and I continually find new typos I never knew that were there.
You know what I hate though? Every time you edit old shit for a second, it just spams people's following feed. I actually had somebody like comment on this one article. They're like, hey, why are you spamming my following feed? I'm like, oh, my bad. That happens every single time you edit something old. And they're like, well, can you at least do it every 10 minutes so that way I'm not I already know all this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and then I found out like a month later that person actually ended up unfollowing me. So I'm like, I guess maybe it became too much.
Yeah.
I don't think that's the reason. I mean, the following system on Amino sucks anyway. I actually wrote a whole article about why you shouldn't pay attention to the numbers and pay more attention to who's actually tuning in.
Yeah.
I wrote a whole, because they have probably one of the most convoluted following systems I've ever seen, because you can't tell who actually gives a shit and who just followed you for the sake of doing it, because all these people, bored people, just join a bunch of Aminos, follow everyone, get out. They have these like bots and stuff like that. So
yeah, well, that's because
whatever.
That's because when you enter a new amino, it auto recommends like, hey, could you follow like these 50 random people who posted recently?
That is exactly what I said in the article, and it's actually that's actually my most viewed non-featured post yet. So at least the message is getting through to people. They're like, oh, somebody had to say it. Basically, like if nobody's gonna say it, I'm gonna fucking say it, because there's a lot of things that I've noticed about it.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that like 50% of the app are like high schoolers, but like, come on, you gotta at least look somewhat into the evidence, guys.
Yeah. Better than those people that thinks they get XP from liking things. You don't. That's not how it works.
No, it's not. Like I've one time I tried to experiment doing that. I liked like 3 posts and gained like 1 point of reputation, and I'm like, because the only reason I even checked in and did all that shit was because I just wanted to get to level 16, so so that way I can see every single badge. Yeah. And now I'm just like, the only reason I even check in now is because I'm sick of seeing the stupid box. It's like
yeah.
Can you just let me go a day without checking in without ruining my visuals here?
Yeah. I think it was
I'm rambling kind of. I mean, like, do you guys like have any questions like for me or anything like that?
Yeah, I'll get to that. I think it was a little bit before your time, but there was actually a user, I think his name was Haru, something like that, where he would like literally every post that came onto the feed, and everyone knew.
I remember him. It was, Poru was his name.
Yeah.
And then what's really funny is like he would like everything, but he left recently. He was there for like a few months when I was, and I actually visited his profile once, and his bio literally said word for word, I only like your stuff to gain more reputation. And I'm like, at least he's being honest.
He's being honestly stupid, because that's not how that works.
Yeah, like I'm pretty sure I don't think he got banned. I think he just deleted his account because one thing I've noticed is that like if you unless someone like deletes their account, they don't really disappear in your like amounts. Like, because sometimes like when I'm on the desktop, I'll see a like from a blank profile picture and I'll click it and it's a dead fucking link. Yeah, there's I do remember that guy. That guy was a character. Yeah. And I remember he also deleted people who followed him, and someone said, how have you been here so long and you appear to have so little followers? And he said something like, I delete them, I don't have a need. I'm like, what? I'm like, it doesn't matter anyway, so you're basically eliminating a problem that you created. Like, not that there's anything wrong with that, I'm just saying that was kind of funny. It's like,
yeah, he was a weird guy.
Yeah, I actually do have a couple questions for you guys. So,
okay.
So Kevin, are you also were you into Danganronpa at the same time Zeke was, or were you ever into it or anything like that? Because I know you guys said I've known each other for a while.
Yeah. So interesting thing about that, Zeke actually got me into Danganronpa around the time V3 was coming out, because he just wanted to share that whole experience with me, and I'm always cool to check out new stuff, especially if Zeke recommends it, because I typically think Zeke has pretty good taste overall.
Mm-hmm.
So,
cultured, if you will.
Yeah, some pretty cultured taste overall. So we started doing this Let's Play series called Baka Gaijin. Novelty Hour? Yeah, because Novelty Hour, visual novels, whatever. The only series we actually completed with that, like completely recorded and edited, was Danganronpa 1.
which is actually still on my channel, all 50 parts of it.
We got like partway through Danganronpa 2 before our editor, Cube the Third, got too busy to actually do it, and this is before I ever had a computer that allowed me to do any kind of like major like video editing or anything, which is different from now. So at that time, we just kind of had to cancel Novelty Hour. Now, we probably won't ever return to that because we lost all of the source files.
Yeah, the funny thing is, we actually finished recording the entire. We reacted to and recorded the entire series through the end of E3, but we ended up that computer got scrapped, and I ended up losing. Not only did I lose the source files on that computer, but also we had a really fucking convoluted system at the time where we just keep making new Google Drive folders to hold all the video and audio in.
Yeah, this is before Google ended up creating like a hard limit on...
We suspect. I actually joke that we are the reason they made that phone verification thing that started annoying the shit out of us by the end. Because every time we had to create a new drive to hold things in, because there's a 15 gig limit, we had to get another phone number to verify it, and we went through like everyone's phone number, my phone number, your phone number, Cube's phone number, I think my brother's phone number, I think Sama's phone number at one point.
Yeah. We had to go through everybody we knew's phone numbers.
Yeah, and they had a really convoluted naming. I think half of the drives were literally just like "fuck you Google 5," "fuck you Google 6," "fuck you Google 7."
You started just cursing out Google in the email names.
Yeah, and I don't know what the fuck those passwords are, or even what half the fucking emails are. So that's even the stuff that wasn't on the computer just got lost to the ether. So we never ended up finishing it. But we did go through the whole thing together, and it was fun.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun with that, and like, I'm a big fan of Danganronpa now. But yeah, Zeke is the entire reason I ever got into Danganronpa. If it weren't for him, I never would have started.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Spectrum stuff knows me.
Yeah. Question, Kevin. Is Maki your favorite? Is Maki your favorite character, Kevin, or is she just your profile picture because whatever?
Well, Maki is my profile picture because she is my favorite character overall, and Aoi Asahina is my icon for the podcast because she is my second favorite character.
There you go.
You know what? I think I might have stumbled across the podcast a couple times. I never really listened to it, but I did see Aoi was your avatar. It's funny because everybody calls her Hina like in the game, at least from what I can remember. But I always just refer to her as Aoi when I'm writing about her.
Same.
Yeah, that is a localization thing. I actually knew the localization editor for Danganronpa 1. His name is Phoenix Spalding.
Oh yeah.
He went by Hoke on the NISA forums. We had a long-standing love-hate relationship, me and him.
That's an interesting way to put it.
Yeah, we had a thing going on.
God,
yeah, it was forum nonsense.
Yep.
Little that I don't call myself the lovable rascal for nothing. But yeah, those are just some of the decisions he made with the nicknames and such. Ishimaru is the same deal. Hagakure is the same deal. Apparently, they were really concerned that Western audiences would be confused if there were more than 7 letters in a name. So, yeah.
Americans, stupid, but not as stupid as other people think we are.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one,
Yeah.
Chief.
Yeah, there's a whole lot of. There's a whole lot.
I don't know. That's the thing. That's just what I like to tell myself. But sometimes things pop up that make me think, you know what, the whole Americans are dumb thing, that's not even a negative stereotype, it's just a harsh truth.
Yeah.
At this point, sometimes.
Yeah.
I'm like, more, like, sometimes I see, like, these stupid things said by these, like, young American Twitter users, and I'm like, looking through the comments and see people say, like, no, there's no way this is real. And then someone from America will say, you probably overestimate the intelligence of this country. And I'm just like, whatever. You know, it's funny. No, going back to what was said earlier about the localization thing, that's one. Whenever Zeke like reads something that I do and he has something to say, he'll like leave a like or comment, and sometimes he'll like correct me on like these little errors, and I'm like, oh my god, how did I miss that? that's actually how, and that's actually kind of how he started giving me feedback. He's like, yeah, you missed this. Yeah, this is just my input, and that was just kind of how it started. In fact, I don't know if you remember this, Zeke, but the first, I think one of our earliest interactions was I asked you, like what can I do? And you said add backgrounds to your shit, and you're basically the reason why I started learning the importance of backgrounds, because you're right, it made it look so much better. Now I look at writers that don't use backgrounds, I'm like, what? This is like looking into an empty void. Like, it just looks so much better. So like, that's what, and that was really nice, because that actually helped me improve quite a bit.
Yeah. Man, I had something to say, but I forgot it. Fuck. Yeah, I think one of the first things I also told you was don't trust the wiki.
Well, you said, what I got from it was don't trust it too freely, because like that's what I said in the intro to the interview. It's like don't it's not that all this wrong, but anybody can edit it. So that's the thing. If I read something on the wiki and I'm like, I think that happened, but I'm not sure, I check the game and see if it actually happened. And even though I've been right every time, I still do it, because I'm like, you never know. Somebody could have just put that there.
My favorite instance of wiki vandalism was the multiple months where Kibo was listed as transgender because, quote, and this is their actual reasoning, robots don't have gender, therefore. And I'm like, that's not how that works.
No, it's not. That's wait, when the fuck was this?
A while ago. This was like a little after the game came out.
I wasn't into it back then.
Yeah, I think it's gone now, but yeah, there's always been bullshit like that on the wiki.
Well, to be fair, there's the whole do robots have dicks thing, so I guess somebody took that a little too seriously.
Perhaps.
It's a joke. Omo was making a joke. God damn it.
And speaking of jokes, it's like sometimes when I'm on Amino, I see like a lot of times you can pick out who's a kid just by like their endless list of triggers of stuff that's like not even remotely like worth calling that, because it's like it demeans things that actually do cause people to go into shock and actually traumatizes people. It's not triggers does not translate to minor hindrance. Kids, wake up. And that it demeans, like, I've actually had things happen to me in the past, and that just kind of rubs me the wrong way.
We call that we call that tag your pomegranates. You ever see the infamous tag your fucking pomegranates post on Tumblr?
Wow, what does this actually have to do with pomegranates, or is that like
no, because somebody was just posting pictures of pomegranates, and he's like, someone was like, excuse me, could you tag this? It kind of looks like gore, and he's like, no, it's pomegranates, it's fruit. Yeah, but you know, it kind of looks like blood and gore and stuff. It's like, it's fucking pomegranates. I'm not tagging.
And it's like, and that's another thing. I only put like disclaimers on my shit if there's something in it.
The reason that hold on, wait. The reason that post is actually so hilarious is because the person who was upset and being like, tag your post, actually was like super offended and was like, quit being so insensitive, just tag your fucking pomegranates.
What? Okay, I don't know what kind of gore these guys are watching if they think a pomegranate looks like that.
I know, right?
Plot twist: OP is a pomegranate.
It's like that meme where this dude, I'm not a robot thing, and it says, are you human? And then it shows the Nicolas Cage meme on a spud. It says, no, I'm a fucking potato. What do you think? Of course I'm human.
My favorite is the 4chan post where he's explaining how spiders are harmless and friendly, but he accidentally said "we" at one point, and they're like, "Wait, we?" And then someone just drew like a spider hammering on the keyboard.
Wow, that's pretty funny, actually. Like,
yeah.
So
I was I bet.
Anyway.
So.
Yeah.
What have you been up to lately, Zeke?
That's right. That's a thing we usually do.
Typically what we do here, yeah.
Yeah. No, it's like, I mean, like, we're the tangent podcast. We established that like 30 episodes ago.
Yeah, admittedly.
The only consistency you should expect is inconsistency. But normally something we do to introduce the show is we go over just what we've been doing lately and talk about stuff like that. So, Kevin, why don't you go first?
All right, well, not a whole lot's really changed since last time. I believe I mentioned last episode that I started up on Halo 3, the campaign, and I've been slowly going through that lately.
Yeah.
That is man, Halo 3's campaign is so much better than 1 and 2's, and 2 was already better than 1, so, yeah, Halo 3 is pretty fucking baller, dude.
Well, if the line of extrapolation continues, Halo 7 should be fucking amazing.
Oh god, I hope so. Well, okay, wait, hold on. Okay, so Halo Infinite is Halo 6. So
I'm extrapolating. It's what's the word I'm looking for? It's not that word, it's some other word.
There's probably some idiot around here who thinks that like the real Halo 4 is Halo Reach.
Yeah.
No, it doesn't work like that. Actually, that reminds me. I had a friend a few years back. I think it was like my last year of high school or something. We play whenever I'd go to his house. We played through every Halo game that was out at the time except for 2 and ODST and 4 on Legendary on co-op, and we won. We didn't do 2 because apparently in 2, if one person dies, because that skull's always off, then you have to start over. And neither one of us were, and I wasn't, and basically he has like no life, so he's like amazing at it, and I'm just like really terrible at it. And we didn't do ODST because he didn't have it, and we didn't do 4 because he wanted to beat it for himself first. But that was actually pretty fun. Like, I usually have a lot more fun with FPSs when I'm playing with another person. There's a few exceptions, but Halo is a lot of fun when you're playing co-op.
Yeah, I actually completed Halo 2 in co-op with a friend of the show, Type Zero.
Oh, is his name? Oh, is his name Saradin?
Saradin. His name is Saradin. Yes.
His name is Saradin. Yes. It's never gonna get old.
It's never, ever.
Nope.
He made it himself, but yeah, me and Saradin finished Halo 2. We did not do it on Legendary difficulty because we're not fucking masochists.
Yeah.
The reason.
Yeah, we tried the first stage, and I was just like, and he's just like, you know what? You're not good enough. We're ditching this. We're skipping this.
Yeah. Legendary difficulty on Halo 2 is like, hey, do you want to have a bad time today? No, thank you. I want to have fun.
It's a good way. It's a good way to break up with your friends.
Yeah, I guess. I mentioned that I started up on Symphogear G. I'm a few episodes into that one. Oh boy, already this is so much better than the first season. And the first season was already pretty good, but God, Symphogear is just fucking awesome, dude. Fucking.
If it follows that trajectory, Symphogear season 7 should be amazing.
We're 5 seasons into Symphogear, actually.
Well, we're getting there.
Season
7's gonna be fucking amazing then, at that rate.
But like, yeah, Symphogear G is fucking cool as shit. Symphogear in general is cool as shit. Like, it's this combination between like magical girls, but they have like a lot of like sci-fi mecha visual elements to their design and like their weaponry. But it also has elements of like idols where like all of their powers are based around singing and shit. But like, so like every single fight has a fucking insert song. It's fucking great. It's all freaking power of friendship, power of love, power of understanding bullshit, and it's so freaking corny and ridiculous, but I love it so much because it's just so goddamn earnest. Like, it doesn't try to like play itself as being like, haha, tongue-in-cheek. Like, nah, it knows that it's ridiculous, but it plays itself dead straight because it believes in its own, like, it's the kind of series that, like, it's ridiculous, but it believes in its own ridiculousness. It's kind of like friggin' Gurren Lagann in that regard.
I was just waiting. I was waiting until him to bring him. I was waiting for you to say Gurren Lagann.
Dude, it's my favorite anime. I am obligated.
I know. There's 2 counters in my head, Kevin. One time until he mentions Gurren Lagann, and time until he goes on a Transformers tangent.
Do you want me to go on a Transformers tangent?
I don't know what kind of Transformers.
Not unnaturally, no.
Okay. It'll happen
have at
again.
Least a tenuous, have at least a tenuous connection first.
Yeah, it'll happen eventually. Don't worry. It's not a matter of if, only when. But yeah, I've been going through Symphogear. I believe the new season of Demon Slayer begins this month, and they're going to start with a rebroadcast of Mugen Train. With
but it's new scenes and re-edited and stuff like that.
Well, I'm still going to check it out for the new shit, and also just because Mugen Train was good. Yeah, aside from that, things have actually been pretty slow. What I'm going to be doing this week, however, is we mentioned it last podcast, but this week on Thursday, I'm actually going to be going up to Ohio to visit with Cubes and Sheridan. And that's going to be fun. We're going to watch, me and Cubes are going to watch some movies. We're going to go out and there's this place up in Ohio called, I believe, DK Effect, and it's a barcade, like a bar in an arcade, and that place is so much fun, and I like the way that they set up the games. All of the regular arcade games, stuff like Pac-Man, The Simpsons Arcade, and shit like that, all of the regular arcade games are free to play. Instead of...
Oh, that sounds fun as shit.
Yeah, I know, right?
Yeah, there's where in Ohio is this? Because I live in Michigan, so it might not be too long of a drive.
It's over in Dayton.
I would have to look that up. I don't know geography.
It might be a ways away, but
yeah, Dayton's near the lower bottom. It's in the middle of the lower half of Ohio.
Yeah.
No, I'm not wasting my gas bill for that right now.
It is.
But it still sounds fun.
Oh yeah, it's a great place. But yeah, all of their regular arcade machines are free to play. But the only thing you have to pay for is the drinks, the food, and the pinball machines. Which, to be fair, pinball machines require a lot more upkeep than regular arcade boards. So it makes sense why they would be no, you have to pay for the pinball. I get that.
We gotta tighten some screws every now and again. Costs money.
It's a little more complicated than that. There's a lot of moving parts.
Tightening screws.
There are a lot of moving parts in a pinball machine, bruh.
I am the pinball wizard, and it's all fucking magic.
I feel like I've heard pinball wizard before. I feel like I've heard somebody call themselves that many times. Is that a common thing?
It depends on the person.
I think it's I'm old enough to know it's a reference to something, but I'm not old enough to know what the reference is.
I'd probably put myself in that same boat. But then again, I don't really know.
Yeah.
Sometimes I have these false memories about what things reference. I thought this one song I listened to sampled something for years, looked it up. Apparently it didn't sample anything. And this was not a single that was all over the radio or anything. So I guess I just misremember stuff.
So that's what I've been up to, and that's what I will be up to soon. What have you been up to, Zeke?
That's fine. Just go visit your friends. Never visit me.
You're a couple more hours away.
What is quantities of land between friends, Kevin?
Well, it's the difference between a 5-hour bus trip and a 7-hour bus trip.
It's like the moral of I forget. The punchline was real friends help you hide bodies, but I forget what the lead up was.
It was I don't, you know what, I know exactly what you're talking about. I just don't remember exactly what the reference was.
Yeah.
It was friends something best friends help you hide the body. Something like that.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, I've definitely seen that around. I just don't know where it came from.
Good friends good friends help you plan a murder, best friends help you hide the body.
Yeah. Was it? I don't
even
know.
If that's not what it is, that's still pretty accurate.
What friend is going to stop at step 1, though?
I know, right?
What friend's going to be like, I'm going to help you plan this murder, but then I'm out of here. You're on your own.
It's you're on your own after that, bitch.
I don't think that's
they're not going to sell you
exists.
as an accomplice. Yeah, it's what do you think is going to happen?
Yeah.
Right?
You're in this now. You're committed.
As we were, though, What are you up
we
to?
call them those people we call fucking flakers is what we call them. Right, what I'm up to. Well, since I won, well, I say won, but I claimed that limited discount code for Sackboy: A Big Adventure. I've been charging ahead through that. I think I'm almost done with it.
What was that, by the way?
Really good. It's basically the Little Big Planet version of Super Mario 3D Worlds, and I love Super Mario 3D Worlds, and I actually think this game does some things better than Super Mario 3D World.
Oh, I love those like collectathon, like 90s throwback platformers so much. We don't get enough of those ones made well these days, man.
Yeah, it's not so much a collectathon. It's linear levels, short linear levels, but there is stuff to collect, the Dreamer Orbs and whatnot, and the prize bubbles.
I generally just use the term collectathon to refer to that kind of 90s, early 2000s style platformer, though.
Yeah, I've been a huge fan of the Little Big Planet games since they started. And this is obviously something very different. It's not a 2.5D side scroller. It's like Super Mario 3D World. It's like that. That's not really a genre, but like gameplay wise, it's almost exactly like that. Format wise.
Yeah.
I'm really enjoying that. There's some really fun and creative level set pieces. Just great level design. And I said this on Twitter, but the licensed soundtrack is amazing. And then the sound engineer for the game liked my tweet, so I guess I'm objectively right in that regard.
You can actually find this on my wall, but Ice-T liked one of my tweets.
Dude, I made a silly freaking joke about the upcoming Blu-ray Steelbook release of the Street Fighter movie, like the live-action Street Fighter movie that came out in the 90s. Like, I made and the thing is, the Steelbook is coming out on a Tuesday. So I made a joke about how, for us, the day the Steelbook releases will be the most important day of our lives, but for Mill Creek, it will be Tuesday. And the director of the Street Fighter movie found my tweet and retweeted it.
Yeah, it's a small world.
Yep, all three of us have had a famous person like one of their tweets. Zeke, you sent the other day. I remember you sent me audio. I think it was of Jason Wishnov reading out something that you made Baka say.
Yeah.
Was that from the TXT shit? I don't remember.
No, that was a running gag we did in our Let's Play series where Tagami had a.
Yeah, it's funny when you sent me that. I was on my break. At my job, and when I played it, like right when it played, somebody walked in the room and was like, "Was that?"
Wow.
Yeah. That's fun. That was funny though. Like.
Yeah. No, so that was a running gag in our Let's Play, is that Tagami would reference a butler named Jeeves that obviously wasn't there, and he'd give him like commands and then forget he wasn't there. And at one point he was just like, "Jeeves, shit for me."
I always had fun coming up with ways to describe Byakuya. Like, I did something about what certain characters' love languages would be, and when I put Byakuya on acts of service, I referred to him as the Danganronpa version of every person on the Forbes list ever. Sometimes I call him the rich dickhead, just affectionately.
Yeah.
Just a lot of funny ways.
You ain't wrong.
Yeah, so that was a running gag, and I got Jason Wishnov to do that because Jason Wishnov was doing a thing on Twitter where if you showed him evidence that you voted, if you like showed him your I voted sticker or whatever, he would record a voice line for you. So I did that.
That was the one you picked.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
I love that you decided to use your opportunity to make real a stupid joke that I came up with during a Let's Play.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
It's canon now. Tagami canonically has other people's shit for him.
I
don't know how that works, but
the funny thing is when the imposter shows up in the second game and he's impersonating Tagami, we ended up realizing that like he is obscenely fat and we don't know how he got that way. And Zeke offhandedly was like, "This is what happens when you have other people shit for you."
What? Wow. Wait. Did you guys know that it wasn't really Byakuya when you first played it?
I did, but he didn't.
When I first played it, I was like, wait, why is Byakuya in this game? Why does he not remember anything that happened in the first game? And why is he like twice his weight at least? I was like so confused. I was like, why is he in this game and why is he fat? And then when the answer came, I was like, that's ridiculous, but it actually makes a little bit of sense.
It's like, well, okay.
So, and then at the end, when they're in like the final chapter, then the real future Fangan shows up, and then Akane's like, oh my god, Byakuya, you lost weight. It's like, what? I was like, what?
You're back, and you're so skinny now.
That was when I saw that, I was like, oh my god. I mean, wow. Yeah, it's just like a lot of the funny things in Danganronpa just was like tiny little like moments that just stick with me. Like the first a long time ago I wrote about what I thought the funniest moments was, and I always found Gundam just hilarious because he's like, his talent is literally like basically just a guy who breeds animals, but then he's like this evil overlord who looks like a teenage Kratos, and he just talks like he's ruling over the land. And it's like this, and then his hamsters are like, they don't look like super powered hamsters at all. It's just like, imagine if you walked into your friend's house and there's like a guinea pig, and you tell that guinea pig to like go dismantle a giant robot, and it actually does it. That's basically what he is.
My favorite part of that is that he names all of his hamsters after shonen magazines.
Yeah, I talked about that like I also did something about my favorite quotes from this series, and I just literally chose a random line from Gundam because I just like so many of them. I even said, okay, I actually picked this at random. I admit it. that was Gundam was a fucking character, man. Yeah. There's a lot of I believe pretty much all the characters have a lot to them. Like, it says a lot that even characters people hate, they can explain in detail why they hate them. It's not like they're just kind of there. So that's part of the brilliance of the series. Even things you don't like have some reasoning that you can pick to back it up with, and that's not something you can always say. Sometimes when you experience a franchise, you're like, I don't like this because I don't really have an opinion. But when people hate a character, they know why they hate them, and I'm like, good, I like that more than being indifferent. I don't care if your opinion is different than mine. You can actually make arguments for it.
Yeah, don't get me started on Celestia Ludenberg.
I was gonna say, wait for my 10-part dissertation on why I hate Celeste.
I don't really know if I hate Celeste, but she's actually one of the least memorable if I had to pick. Because I think I've only covered her a few times, but if I ever write a story about it, I'll have a fun time experimenting with her inner thoughts on, ooh, this guy's an A, no, he's an F. That's gonna be fun if I choose to do that one day, experimenting with that. It's basically what I'm gonna be like. If I run out of ideas to blog about someone, I'm like, okay, fuck it, I'm just gonna write them and make them do stupid shit. That's hilarious. Anyway,
back to what I was doing. Sackboy Big Adventure. It's a big adventure. It's not a dinky bite-sized adventure, it's a big adventure. And then I'm almost done with that. And I've got a lineup of games I want to go through October. You know, it's the spooky season. Did you know that, Kevin?
It is the spooky season. Yep. It is Halloween month.
Yeah, so I like to go through at least vaguely, spooky-ish games. Alan Wake Remastered comes out tomorrow. I'm going to pick that up and go through that. I started Lost in Random, and then I kind of fell off it when I got this Sackboy code, so I'm probably going to go back to that at some point. I bought it when it came out, Blood Rain Betrayal Fresh Bites. I want to go through that. And then at the end of the month, Spooky Jack is getting... Is that what it is?
I don't know. I don't know.
Hold on, I'm on the... No, it's Pumpkin Jack. Pumpkin Jack is getting its PS5 upgrade near the end of the month, which I told you I wanted to stream, and maybe you'll be on for that.
Yeah, hopefully I will be, because around Halloween. I believe my family's going to be out of the house for that week, so...
Yeah. They're going on a Halloween vacation. What are they doing?
They're actually going back over to Arizona to go to a friend's wedding.
Oh, I see. Who gets married on Halloween? I want to meet them. They're dope. That sounds awesome.
They're actually planning on making the entire thing like based around the Day of the Dead.
Oh, that's not in October, but okay.
It's adjacent.
It's in May.
The Day of the Dead is in May.
Yeah.
Is that what you said? I was kind of lost
Anyway.
Yeah, it's Cinco de Mayo, May 5th. It's after Star Wars Day. That's a weird transition to make.
Yeah. Oh my god, I can't believe I forgot Day of the Dead was the same thing. Oh my god. I'm really uncultured, I guess. Maybe
That's okay. Kevin made the mistake first, you know. I'll just accept my smartest person on the podcast award now.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a brain fart, I guess.
Yeah, so that's sort of the games I'm probably gonna go through in October. Mines, have you been doing anything lately?
Well, aside from like writing stuff, I live on my own, so I spend most of my time working and just like paying the bills when I'm not writing. I'm just kind of like looking at my condo and thinking I need to clean up this shit, but I also have to get some writing finished. But as for games, I have a bunch of games that I actually haven't started playing yet. Like, I got the Nier Replicant remake when it came out, and I haven't even gotten to the part where he grows up yet.
Listen to this guy. He lives in a condo.
That's the part you focus on?
I'm not trying to brag. I'm just saying, I literally only said that to say, oh my god, I gotta clean my place. I wasn't trying to rub it in people's face.
I know. I'm just fucking with you.
Yeah, just like, it's, and also, I got the Shin Megami Tensei 3 remastered. Did not play that yet, but I've been playing Ghost of Tsushima lately. I don't know why it took me so long to get into that, because like, the thing was, I didn't know that it had like action combat. I legit thought it was like just a pure stealth game, but the moveset is actually really fun to use. But I kept dying on this one part, and I was like, wait, I had to go and get somebody to help me this whole time. No wonder I couldn't beat them. And after that, I got Scarlet Nexus lined up. I've been waiting to play that for a while.
Yeah.
I heard that one was really good. I was like, please let this be good, because it looks really interesting. So that's basically what I've been doing. I got a Switch recently. Mainly so I can be a masochist and play through Danganronpa S when that comes out. My faith is dwindling. And I got Smash Bros too. That was mainly what I got it for. I've basically just been coming up with more ideas for writing. I've been doing this one. I decided that I'm gonna be like stopping doing really long multi-episodic blogging projects after the one I'm doing now, because for one, like, I've talked about everything imaginable in every way possible, and I don't think there's enough material left for me to make another blog project. I basically said all future like multi-episode shits is all gonna be like stories and stuff like that. I actually have an idea for one, but I'm saving that for another day. Basically, what I'm doing now is like, I found this. Zeke knows about this. I found this theory online that basically called the Holland Code theory. Basically what it says is like people's job, like careers fit with are compatible with certain personalities. And what I do was I'm going through every single character and trying to figure out if their personality fits, if a job fits at all. And so far there's some I'm like, when I got to Nagito's, I was like, this guy doesn't need a job, and he probably couldn't hold one anyway. So, I basically just wrote a scenario where he like basically I forget exactly what I said, but basically he wakes up in the morning, finds a check for like $400,000, buys a house, buys new furniture, goes to take a walk, comes back and finds out somebody ransacked the whole house. So then he goes to get a job. And while he's on the phone, the guy's about to tell him he didn't get the job. But then as he's telling him that, somebody gets fired. He's like, never mind, you're hired. But then he gets fired after like 4 months. And then after he gets fired, he spends the last of his money on a lottery ticket, and he wins $800,000. And I'm just like, it's just an endless cycle of good and bad luck. And it's like, yeah. And
how do you categorize that?
That was
He's
like
the super duper luckster.
That's how he would laugh. I can't do Nagito's laugh to save my life. But that was one of my favorite things when I first played through Danganronpa 2. Every time Nagito's laugh came up, I was like, that is the funniest shit. Mm-hmm. Also, have you heard his Japanese laugh? It's not the same, but it's just
I've heard it.
Yeah. I bet Bryce Papenbrook had a lot of fun coming up with that laugh. Mm-hmm. Unless somebody just basically told him you gotta laugh like this, and he didn't actually come up with shit. But I don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah. Now and basically after I finished the cast of each game, there's like an intermission because it's fucking 12 episodes. After that, I'm putting my own spin on that challenge, just floating around, just talking about my favorite stuff, and then it's like done with the gold blogging stuff for a while at least. Yeah. But I always have some kind of idea. My motto is basically like, I don't just write about Danganronpa. I document my view of the world and my interests through the eyes of somebody who's invested in this series like the rest of you guys. And that's basically what's in my brief bio, just documenting my interests. And there are some things I've done that are loosely connected, and I'm like, the mods are probably like, you know what? This is barely on topic, but this guy's kind of a dip, but yeah, he's good enough, so let's just keep him around.
Yeah.
That's probably not what it really is, but sometimes I wonder, like, how did this not get taken down? But yeah, that's basically what I've been up to. Just working on stuff, and trying to squeeze gaming in, and then immediately saying, "Oh, I got something better to do," and then I'm like, "No, why did I not game?" That's my
Zeke knows that feeling.
Yeah. Yeah, Kevin, I have a proposition.
Yes.
I think, because I really have to use the bathroom, we should do 3 segments.
Okay, that's fair.
I think we should break, and then after the break, we'll go into the drama, and we'll continue from there.
I think that is a perfectly fine proposition. I am totally okay with that.
All right. So, we'll catch you after the break. Stay tuned to the Baka Gaijin show. Hello and welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show with those 3 fucks you know. 1, 2, 3. There we go.
I'm the third.
Yeah.
I mean,
everyone here is a fuck. That's how it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you know, Mines, it's opportune that we have you on this week because just last night, some spicy hot drama just dropped.
Woo!
Yeah, the Project Eden's Garden shit. I saw I don't know what everyone calls him. I just call him Blaze, whatever the creator's name is. Yeah. Some people call him like SHSL Blaze, whatever. He tweeted about that. He said, "Oh, something just happened. What does this mean for the fangan community?" And then I was like, what's he talking about? And then I saw like all the main writers for like the most anticipated like fangan right now just left. I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah. So so I was at work and I got a notification on my phone because I'm in the Fangan Hub server because I'm my Fangan's listed in the Fangan Hub server, so I got the ping I get pings about the list whenever somebody fucks up and gets blacklisted from the Fangan Hub server. And I saw that they got Project Eden's Garden, which I might accidentally call Eden's Gate at some points because their name is very similar to the cult in Far Cry 5, which is called Project Eden's Gate. But in any case, they got blacklisted again. The first time was a while ago. They got blacklisted for having a Patreon. Fangan Hub doesn't like it when you try to monetize your Fangan projects because I think it's kind of irrational because they think Spike Chunsoft's going to bring the ban hammer down on all of us if people start having Patreons or whatever. I think that's a bit unfounded, but whatever. It's their place, their rules.
Yeah.
So that was the first time they got blacklisted, and then they took that down, and then they got relisted, and now they've been blacklisted again. As the official reason goes, due to mistreatment of staff. The main head, the creative lead of Project Eden's Garden, Obelisk, had his 4 main writers, Fire, Brooke, Rebus, and Soze, step away, walk out of there, and then they published this document called Statements, which is They say 67. Google says 72. Whatever the case, it's a lot of words about their issues and their experiences working on the project, which even outside of Obelisk's behavior or whatever, it's just interesting me to as somebody who works on a project all by himself. I find this kind of intercommunication and team sort of drama, whatever, really fascinating in the fangan space, because I don't get, not being on any kind of team, you don't hear the, you don't always know what the drama is like, or the process. So it was actually a really interesting read from that perspective. I read through this entire document last night, trying to get a feel for the situation. The vast, and I'm gonna go over. I'm not gonna read the whole thing. Obviously, we'd be here till midnight. But I'm gonna go over the highlights and sort of summarize best as I can the various sections.
Yeah, I've not heard any of this, so this is my first time hearing about the particulars of this particular fandom drama, which
yeah. Also, mine's quick favor. Could you mute yourself when you're not talking? Because you got a little bit of static on your end.
Gotcha.
Okay. Thank you. I'm sorry, that was just kind of bothering me.
No, you're good.
Yeah, so anyway, Project Eden's Garden is a fangan project. Unlike a lot of ones that are video series or things like that, this was actually meant to be a game. This was the one I kept telling you, Kevin, that I was convinced they were going to try to sell for money at one point, because they seemed, it seemed a little suspicious to me that not only was the word Danganronpa not included in the title, the official title is just Project Eden's Garden, and they say it's Danganronpa inspired. Right. So it's a little different from most fangan. Most fangans are like, we're Danganronpa.
Yeah, that art style says otherwise.
Yeah. But this one doesn't have Danganronpa in the title. It doesn't have Monokuma. It has new mascots. So I'm not saying that necessarily means they're gonna try to sell it, but I mean, it kind of leans in that direction of, well, if we had to make money off it, we could, because we're not using any Spike Chunsoft properties or whatever. So just to refresh your memory, Kevin, that's the one we're talking about here.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. And it was a big effort because, it's obviously like a full, fan game that requires more people. It requires programmers, modelers, but most pertinently to this situation, writers. There were 4 writers. I'm not sure how much Obelisk himself was a writer. I know in the document, he says he did a lot of planning. I think he did some writing, but he wasn't like a writer. He was just kind of like creative lead. And a lot of the work was delegated to these 4 writers. There were other writers, but these were like the main 4: Firebrook, Rebus, and Soze. I didn't know this at the time, but later on they talk about a little bit about their experiences, and I actually realized that I actually know of Soze. Soze is I think I've told you about this too, Kevin, on Tumblr, the full rewrite of SDR2 where Mahiru is the protagonist.
Yeah.
That's actually
hold on, that's a thing? That's a thing? Who wrote that?
Yeah, it's called MK.
That sounds like I would actually, I don't know, I might actually look into that.
Yeah, it's called MK2, and it was by the Soze person, who I guess, I didn't know that, but I guess she was working for Project Eden's Garden. Not anymore, but she was.
And we'll find out why, I guess.
Yeah. So the document starts as such. The 4 original writers, Firebrook, Rebus, and Soze of Project Eden's Garden, have decided to step down from their positions because of unprofessional and hostile behavior from the director, Obelisk. For the past month, Obelisk has disrespected his writers, enforced damaging staff policies, and displayed harmful behavior. And they list out 11-ish reasons why. 1, using abusive language in conversations with writers. 2, reacting with hostility when writers provided constructive criticism of project assets. 3, refusing to read writing proposals and brainstorming documents even when they were vital to project development. 4, cutting off communication with the writers. 5, reacting with hostility when asked to credit his volunteers. 6, holding discussions about project assets in private channels, preventing the writers from offering feedback. 7, creating miscommunication between the writers and other volunteers and reacting with hostility when the writers attempted to clear up this miscommunication. 8, replacing the old lead writer Soze without any genuine reason. 9, refusing to be transparent about hiring the new lead writer. 10, spontaneously making large-scale rewrites to the plot, wasting large amounts of writing work as a result. 11, including harmful stereotypes about mental illnesses in these rewrites.
Oh, no.
12, making false accusations against the writers when he was asked to acknowledge his mistakes, including A, falsely claiming the writers intentionally disrespected his creative vision, B, falsely claiming the writers had refused to communicate with him, C, falsely claiming that the writers were disorganized and had no plan for the story, and D, falsely claiming that the writers had harmed production of Proced assets. All 4 writers have created personal statements to discuss their experiences on the project and corroborate these accusations. The vast majority of this document is Soze's statement, where she goes into a lot of detail, and then the others just kind of chime at the end, like, "Well, here's my take. Here's my page and a half I submitted for this essay assignment." So,
well,
yeah. And they left. They are strongly discouraging new volunteers from applying to Eden's Garden. They will not allow any of their assets to be used for Eden's Garden. We understand the impact this will have on the project's development, but we refuse to let Obelisk profit socially from our work. And then they go into various incidents that have occurred. Most of the drama occurred in the past year. The first main incident is the March incident, where Soze goes into a lot of detail about how things worked in the server and the kinds of communication there was, and basically what they were doing, and some of the anxieties she was feeling after a certain time. Now, the one thing I want to point out, which is one of the first things that's brought up, and this is where, in my opinion, I have some hot takes about this document.
Okay.
I know it's me, shocking, right? But
not in the slightest least.
No, but the more I read this, the more I got the feeling that these writers, and before I say anything, I just want to say I don't know these people. I've never talked to these people. I wasn't too following the project too closely. I'm in the server, which is now locked down, by the way. It's not deleted, but all the channels are like locked because I guess there was a lot of fighting going on in there with the community's reaction to all this. So that's all locked down now. I'm just a guy in the fandom who sees stuff from far away and makes opinions on it. I wasn't there. A lot of this stuff that they write about happened in one-on-one voice calls that obviously I wasn't there for. I don't have the full context. All I have is what's written in this document. So that's all I'm reacting to. But I will say that after reading this entire thing, my interpretation of events is a little bit more gray than I think the document leads people to believe. Now, that's not saying that Obelisk isn't an asshole and a bad project manager, because after reading this, I am 100% convinced that he is.
Okay, yeah.
But I think there are some over-exaggerations in this piece, and I think that some of the writers, one of the first things they mention is that they created a server outside of the main server, which they claim the purpose was to provide a space for team members to chill without their boss around, writers, artists, musicians, and programmers given access. Basically everyone but Obelisk. And over time, it did kind of turn into an event channel where they would complain about him behind his back, and he found out about it, and it was an incident, and then they resolved it by communicating with him and eventually deleting it. Now, to be fair, Soze does acknowledge that this conduct was not good, They wrote here, the most important thing to know about the March incident is that this was a two-sided issue. Although there were problems with Obelisk's behavior, my conduct was by no means better. In creating an echo chamber, I let people feed into each other's personal grievances with Obelisk. Individual frustrations merged together to form an uncontrollable amalgamation of emotions, and my attempt to handle these emotions was nothing short of stupid. I was entertaining a silly fantasy of a revolution, but all it did was reveal my naivety and inexperience. I take full responsibility for these events. That's great. I'm glad that you have that introspection, but I don't think the dots that they don't connect is that later on they go on to describe a lot of the mistrust and lack of communication Obelisk had with the writers, and I don't think Soze makes the connection that perhaps this incident is part of the reason he felt that he couldn't trust them. Because I'm just going through it chronologically the way it's written. The first thing they say is, we made a vent channel where we complained about him without his knowledge, and then he found out about it and got mad.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you admitted that. I appreciate the honesty, but that does give me a somewhat, at least at the start, it gives me a somewhat more sympathetic view of Obelisk than I think was intended. Because if I had people working with me that made a channel without me just to complain about me, I'd be pretty peeved about that too, and maybe I'd have some trust issues after that.
Yeah, no. I agree with that. Like, yeah. I've actually wondered over time. I'm just putting my 2 cents in because this has to do with this. I've always wondered, like, if there was somebody out there who made a whole server to say Minds' writing sucks, or he posts stuff without proofreading sometimes, or he stretches the guidelines too much. If you don't want to write about Danganronpa, don't be here. I've actually envisioned true things that I know some people out there probably have thought, and I'm like, if I saw that being said out loud, I wouldn't exactly be happy about that either, because I'm just doing what I want. And going back to what you said, Zeke, about how you said this was a hot take, I like to say that 50% of unpopular opinions are just harsh truths that nobody wants to admit.
Yeah. So going further, and I know that whole spiel makes it sound like I'm on Obelisk's side here. I'm not.
Yeah, no.
I'm not. We're gonna get into his bullshit, trust me. But that's one thing. That's the first of a few things that tip me off and say this is a slightly less black and white situation than the document wants me to believe. So then they go into creating art assets, creating sprites. You know, they do some specific math about how much they need, stuff like that. One of the things that strikes me as unreasonable about Obelisk is that he had in his mind set a end of 2022 deadline for the release of this thing, which, knowing the progress they had been made from reading this document and other things I've looked into, that seems wildly fucking optimistic to me.
Okay.
Especially with how reluctant he was to take on new people, because he was very... It seems like Obelisk was very concerned about letting too many people in on the plot, so to speak, letting information leak out there and such.
Right.
And there was a bit of a struggle between them, like, we need more artists or we're not going to get this done anywhere near when you want. You know, I understand, you know, preserving information is, you know, something you should take seriously in this space, but like at some point you need to bring in more people. But there are also issues. There's this whole spiel here about how they were going to hire on a junior artist, and Obelisk didn't like their work, and then they worked with them some more behind his back and they improved, and Obelisk was like, okay, but like it was just like a pain in the ass to hire them. And at one point Obelisk says their schedule is not ideal for working on this project. They were already dedicating like 5 to 7 hours a week, which for a non-paid fan project I think is more than fair.
Yeah, I think that's perfectly reasonable, considering that this is a non-profit fan work.
Yeah, but this is the first instance they notice of Obelisk having like weird priorities and favoritism, because the people already volunteering were putting in about that much already, but for some reason he didn't want to hire this new person who was going to do about the same amount. So, you know, already we're seeing that Obelisk has weird priorities as a director.
Yeah. Can't wait to see how this bites him in the ass.
Yeah. And then...
So what do you guys think that this means for the future of the project? Because personally, I think it's a bit too early to tell.
Yeah, me too. But I want to get into more detail about the things that the complaints that they had with him.
Yeah, because I don't know how bad things were with Obelisk here, and I'm interested to see where this exactly goes, because,
Yes. So, I'm just scrolling through it, trying to find... One thing that strikes me as very odd about Obelisk's way of managing this project is that he tried to compartmentalize a lot of things. And this is one of the main grievances the writers had, was that they were often felt like they couldn't see the other departments' work or make any kind of feedback or comment on it, even though they were adapting what was in their script. You know, because they laid out the script, and then they laid out like what objects the player could interact with, you know, what things are going to look like, what the scene has to look like for the story to progress, things like that. And there's an incident further in here where like a 3D modeler was modeling something that was absolutely not in the script. And then when they tried to bring up, you know, that, hey, this isn't what we wrote, what's going on here. He got mad at them for trying to interfere with the progress of asset creation, by providing this, this feedback, even though it wasn't a script. And he would constantly lock off channels to certain roles and such, so that the writers couldn't see what the modelers were doing, or the artists couldn't see what the musicians, and that just seems, that's one thing I definitely agree with about the writers here, is that I feel like a project like this needs open communication. And a lot of the reasoning Obelisk gave for why he did this was that he didn't want to clog things up. He wanted the channels to be clear and concise and have all the progress right there, and didn't want to clog it up with casual chatter and back and forth feedback and stuff like that, which to some extent is understandable. But when every part of the project is so interconnected like this, when you're writing characters that need to be designed by other people, and you're writing them in environments that need to be modeled by other people, and your script needs to be adapted into programming language by the programmers, when everything's so interconnected like this, you need to have open communication. And let people mingle.
Game development is highly collaborative by design. So you can't really, the hands can't really do their work if they don't know what the hell the head is doing. So there needs to be clear communication between the various departments of whatever kind of game development system you have set up. There needs to be clear communication between all parties involved, so that everybody who is working on the project knows, they know what the end goal is, and they know what needs to be worked on, and what the other people are doing.
How long was this project in production? I don't know. I know you guys said you weren't really following it that much, but do you know how long it was in production before this whole thing started to come to the surface?
Yeah, that's written here somewhere. All this drama happened in the past year. Like the earliest incidents, it starts with the March incident, but it calls back to some stuff that happened in January. But I know from my mind, I think it was in production, at least on some level, since I think 2019. I think it's probably written here somewhere, but there's a lot. So, but yeah, the different writers.
The reason I was wondering about that was because I was wondering how far along it went before all this stuff came to fruition. Because if let's say because I know you said that if they were shooting for a late 2022 release date, then that would have been unrealistic. Let's say that was only maybe 3.5 years of production. If that's unrealistic, then let's say it would have been about 2024 or something like that. That would mean that all this stuff happened when it was only about a third completed, and that's assuming that the production that they wanted to get done in that time actually did. So if this project wanted to be moved forward, there might be a need to start it from scratch if little enough was done. I'm honestly kind of worried and also kind of intrigued to see where things are going to go from here, now that we know that a lot of the people that were responsible for making it happen decided to just bail.
Yeah. So getting back to the document, around, it looks like mid-July to end of August, they were working on a demo script, which was 78 pages. I'm not sure if the demo was the prologue or not. I'm not 100% sure on that fact. It might have been. But basically, this is where they start complaining about some unrealistic deadlines and a lot of things that were thrown out or redone without their knowledge. And then there's some things here they don't go into a whole lot of. They have Discord screenshots for a lot of things, and we'll probably link this document in the description of the video here, so people can check it out. But one thing that strikes me as a little bit weird is that right. So when they were rewriting this demo script, by this point I had spent months dedicated to Obelisk and his project, doing everything I could to please him, and the day after I handed him the rest of a 31,000 word script, he spoke to me like I was dirt. That is not shown here, so I don't know what they're talking about. I was humiliated in front of everyone, and it caused me to have a panic attack. So there was apparently there was just a lot of unrealistic deadlines going on, and Obelisk was changing things behind the scenes. this was in late August. Rebus posted an 18,000-word document outlining story ideas and suggestions, and Obelisk fogged it off. Despite being well aware of the work we've done for him, he refused to read it. This is one thing they come back to a few times, where Rebus put together a big outline, a big thing of story ideas and suggestions, sort of like, okay, let's consolidate, let's figure out what the story is from top to bottom and whatever, and with all the suggestions and whatnot.
Right.
And this guy didn't even bother to read it. And that strikes me as like the first real asshole move is just like if I had people working for me, like I'd fucking care about what the fuck they were doing, you know?
Yeah, especially
if only just for only for just efficiency reasons, because you don't want them, and this is something that'll come up again, you don't want them off working on things that aren't going to matter to the project, so you want to be in communication with them. And it seemed like this guy had a really hard time actually maintaining communication with his writers, and even when they tried to communicate to him, he just shrugs them off. You know, I can't imagine being in a position like that and somebody worked so hard on a document. Even if I wasn't going to take their suggestions into account in the end, I would at least fucking read the thing.
Yeah, that is not something you want to do as a project head.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say. I don't know why I said it like that.
The sentence ends with an inflection like you were going to continue, but
I was like, what? Honestly, like, well, so Obelisk, so he was basically like the mastermind behind the whole thing. This was kind of his baby, his dream project. It was all his idea, basically. And then he pulls all this stuff, and just basically not listed into anybody else's vision.
Yeah, getting into more incidents, the day before the second devlog was set to release, I didn't watch that, but the writers noticed that the video did not credit some of the artists whose work were on display. Wouldn't be an issue if the YouTube description included credit, but even that was empty. And when confronted about this, Obelisk just said, the entire staff is literally listed on the Discord, and they're like, most of our viewers aren't in the Discord, maybe set up a public staff list somewhere that would be helpful. And he's like, no, the Discord is the most public place to list it. If you want to debate it, you can message me privately.
Oh, no. The Discord is not the most public place you can list it. The most public place you can list it is on the fucking YouTube video.
Yeah, so that's pretty stupid.
What the fuck?
And then you'll notice that he says, if you want to debate it, you can message me privately. And this is something that he apparently did a lot. He really loved, instead of openly discussing things, he really loved getting people on one-on-one Discord chats. And the mind can wonder why, because it's easier to sort of overpower someone like that in a one-on-one setting. Yeah. So that's something I will admit seems pretty toxic. What's interesting is that people actually used to accuse me of the opposite, that they always wanted one-on-one conversations, and I kept trying to make it open. And I'm like, well, I think it's just more fair if everyone's involved.
You're right. You're right, though.
Yeah. But I will say, one thing that they bring up is that Obelisk had a bit of a fear of being dogpiled by other team members, which, to be fair, that seems like a distinct possibility. Especially when they open with, we made a separate channel just to dogpile on Obelisk.
Yeah.
So I get why. I'm mixed on whether he consciously acknowledged whether this behavior was toxic or not, because it could just legitimately be that he was trying to avoid getting dogpiled by his staff. And then he acted in this way, not realizing what he was doing. I don't know. And obviously I don't know the contents of those private voice calls, so I don't know about the language used there. One thing I will say, though, is that when they talk about the abusive language displayed, the examples they show, yeah, he says some stupid shit and he's a little bit stern, but I don't really get like abusive language from it. I think that's something that's a little bit exaggerated, at least from what I'm seeing here. And again, I wasn't there. I don't know what feelings they were feeling. I'm not trying to say they're illegitimate or whatever.
Right.
I'm just saying what I'm seeing and what you're telling me I'm seeing are not exactly the same thing. But that said, Obelisk continues being stupid. Not allowing cross-department critiques out of fear of clogging the backlog. I'm just scrolling down to the next section, trying to see. what's going on here. Yeah, this is the part where they're talking about how they modeled a script that wasn't in the scene. There's one part I definitely want to get to. I'm trying to find it. It concerns the ending because, and I might just have to summarize this from memory if I can't find it, but basically Obelisk from the beginning had a plan in mind for the ending. They call it ending A in the document for simplicity's sake, and the writers voiced some disagreements about it, and they kind of made their own ending B suggestion. But the problem was that Obelisk never really shot down ending B.
Okay.
But for about 8 months, everyone was kind of working under the assumption that might be what they're building towards. There was kind of an ambiguity there about what they were actually working towards until eventually, like 8 months later, he's like, "What are you talking about? No, it's ending A. Like, the plan has never changed." I thought I made that clear. I thought I made that clear, but he did not make that clear to them. So this is another instance of just miscommunication where like he did not make his desires clear to them. And they obviously don't go into, what the endings contained. I can't judge what was better, but I think it does say something when you have like 4 or 5 other writers in the room and they're all like, "No, this ending, we don't like this. We like this other thing," And then apparently part of the proposal
What was that, Mines?
No, I was gonna say, and the fact that 8 months of work were leading up to something that, was kind of just thrown out. Like, that's 3/4 of a year, and it's like, wait, all this stuff, and then it's not even what it was supposed to be. It's like, come on, that erases a lot of work right there. So that I'm kind of there.
That 18,000 word proposal they're talking about, I believe, I'm trying to consolidate the details in my head here, but I believe that also contained sort of a compromised version, where they took some elements from ending A and some elements from ending B, and they're like, okay, let's try to compromise here. And when you spend all that time working on a document of compromise, and the guy doesn't even fucking read it until he gets pestered about it like months later, and then just shuts it down, that's a little, it's kind of a shitty thing to do. Oh, this part. This is another thing where I'm like, okay, you're just trying to like manipulate me into seeing him as even worse than he already is. You don't need to do that. There's enough shitty things in here for me to have a bad opinion of him.
Already I can tell he was a really bad project lead and probably not a great person to be around generally.
Yeah, but then they say things like, Obelisk was silent for a week after the 3D modeling incident, which is where the person modeled an environment that wasn't in the script, and they tried to correct them, and he accused them of obstructing asset creation or whatever. But then in the next meeting, they complained that he returned with a VTuber model of one of the characters, a 16-year-old girl complete with jiggle physics. And I'm like, okay, so you're personally bothered by that. That doesn't tell me that he's a bad person. Fuck you.
Yeah, no, that's such a fucking nothing. Fuck yeah.
That's such a nothing thing. Like fucking like there's just shit like that. That's
oh
just
no!
Included.
How
it's
dare
like,
he?
And also,
how dare he make a VTuber avatar with anime boob physics? Oh no!
Oh.
Think of the fictional characters. No.
Yeah.
And here's another thing on that subject. Like, people make a big deal out of that sort of thing, but assuming that like you'd actually do stuff like that to a child in real life because of that is just as ignorant, in my opinion, as saying that liking a finishing move in a game means you're gonna kill someone in real life. Like, I still don't understand why that argument is still present like that.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's just shit like that where they just throw in little things like, oh, also he's fucked up in this other one. Like, no, just stick to the facts. Just stick to the fucking facts. And I'm gonna say that later on they talk about how his rewrite. Actually, let's get into that in a second. Let me scroll down to that. So they talk about how he hired a new lead writer and didn't tell Soze. That's pretty fucked up. Let's admit that.
Agreed.
They had some.
That's like underhanded and bad communication. Like, just kind of perfectly rolled up into one little ball of not good.
Yeah, if you're working with people, fucking talk to them, dude.
Exactly. You're the project lead. It is your vision, and it is your responsibility to make sure everybody on the team is on the same page. If you fail at that, then you fail at being the project lead.
Yeah. And he even uses... Go on.
If you pull stuff like that as a leader, it makes me wonder why the fuck he even bothered getting other people to work on his shit in the first place. He could have just done it himself if he was that hell bent on doing things.
I'm going to get into that when I theorize about this, I'm going to get into that. But, a lot of times Obelisk will accuse them of trying to ghost him and not communicating with him, which I'll agree with the writers that's just from what I see here, that's just a fucking blatant lie. They constantly try to communicate with him, and if anything, he was the one ghosting them a lot of the time.
Yes!
So, yeah. When they say things like he doesn't take responsibility for his actions and tries to twist it to being their fault, I can see that. That seems to be what's happening here. I'm just scrolling down again.
It's a big-ass document.
It is a big-ass... Like, I told Kevin last night, I'm like, man, you gotta fuck up if somebody writes a 70-word document about how much you fucked up.
70 words?
70 pages, sorry. If this was 70 words, I would have just read it.
70 words, like, okay, there was one thing here, you're good.
Yeah. I am trying to get to the part where he had a bunch of shit rewritten behind their back, because that's a very interesting thing to me.
I want to
sorry to interrupt. Am I still staticky? I still collecting static?
You're good.
Okay, never mind, because I was kept unmuting and muting myself. I didn't know if only me could hear the beep sound.
No, you're good.
Yeah.
Okay, never mind. I'll just stay unmuted then. Keep going.
Okay. Right. So, September 30th. So that's the other thing I want to point out is that they wrote this hot off the presses. Like this, I think it seems to me like September 30th was kind of the big thing, the final straw.
Yeah.
Where they all packed up and left. So what happened was, on this day, Obelisk unveiled 2 documents that he, with help from his new writer, spent the last week on. These documents surmise that Obelisk had secretly been spending so much time discussing this. The plot listed in these documents practically undid everything the writers have been working on. And it all begs the question, why have us all this time? Why did we work so hard and long and pour our hearts into something only to have it all be undone?
Did I just predict that?
A bit.
I literally said, why didn't he just do it on his own? And then that happens.
Woo!
Yeah.
Boy!
And then we go into Rebus's section. Obelisk refused to effectively communicate his... You're staticking again. Could you mute yourself?
Yeah, okay, there we go. He did.
No, okay. Obelisk effectively refused to communicate with his decisions to his writers, which led to hundreds of hours of work being wasted. One of the main things Obelisk and the writers disagreed on was the events of the final chapter. Obelisk was very attached to his original draft for Chapter 6, which I'll call Ending A. The other writers and I felt the story could be improved if Ending A was altered. We came up with the new idea, Ending B. For months, I was under the direct impression Obelisk would consider using Ending B. He never expressly offered an opinion on it, but one thing he frequently emphasized was that he would accept changes to his original vision, and so long as the writers were able to justify them. That's a fair enough stance to take. It doesn't seem like he did what he said he would. The writers and I frequently talked about Ending B in our writing brainstorming chats. Other staff members also knew about the ideas and would discuss it as well. Throughout the 8 months I was a writer, Obelisk never stepped in and said, no, we can't do Ending B. He never even stated that he disliked the idea. I moved to create the official proposal for Ending B, explaining why I thought it was the better option, as well as filling in finer details about how it would affect the story. The Ending B document was very, very important to this project. Up until this point, Obelisk and the writers had not fully agreed on what ending to pursue because he never offered his opinion. It's also important to note Ending B does not actively contradict Ending A. In an effort to compromise, I made sure many elements of his original vision could be preserved in the final proposal, and it contains elements from both endings. Before I showed it to him, I finalized the proposal with several other volunteers. They were very impressed. I felt it would be beneficial. I sent it to him, and he responded in an unproductive manner. He refused to read the document. Other staff members asked him to read it. He ignored their messages. He'd go silent for the rest of the day.
Yeah, see, from what I can tell, the writers that were on staff here, they at least tried to be respectful and reasonable towards what Obelisk wanted to do with the direction of the story, and they were trying to take the vision of what Obelisk wanted to do, and they were trying to improve it, and they were trying to be more collaborative and try and tell him, ending A is one idea, but like we have some ideas that might be even better, and maybe you want to take a look at those, maybe try and compromise with us. Like, and Obelisk even straight out said, like as mentioned in this document, that he was open to other people giving their own ideas about, how the story should go and, what kind of ending should be done and, what kind of things should be done in the story if they can justify it. And it seems like the writers had pretty well justified what they wanted to do and how it was actually beneficial to the story. So, like, the fact that even despite what Obelisk said, he was just, like, completely dismissive and just went behind their backs and got together with some other completely different dude to just completely rewrite everything and just disregard everything that his pre-existing writing staff was already doing. That is such horse shit. Holy crap.
Going into detail, when Obelisk finally dignified us with a response, he claimed that he had firmly denied the possibility of ending B many times before. This is blatantly untrue, they write in caps and in bold. Throughout my entire time there, he never told us to drop the idea of ending B. He never even said he disliked it. His apparent indifference to it is the main reason why I felt it was beneficial to make the document in the first place, because it seemed like he could be convinced to change his vision.
That's just bad communication there. Bad communication.
Ending B had been tossed around as an idea since the end of January. If Obelisk never wanted to implement it, he had 8 months to express his decision. 8 months to tell us, no, we're sticking with ending A. We frequently talked about it in staff channels under the impression it would be implemented into the story. There is no way he could ever believe the writing team was aware of his stance, especially when we've been quite good about dropping ideas in the past. I pointed out this inconsistency, and after a few hours he sent me an apology where he expressed regret that I was unaware of his stance. While I appreciate the effort, he actively avoided taking personal responsibility with the miscommunication using language such as, if that is the case. Reason 1 is the only thing he ever really apologized for, and he still couldn't have fully admit he was wrong. I don't doubt his claim that he was never going to consider ending B a possibility, but what I can't accept is how much time it took for him to actually give us a straight answer. Countless brainstorming sessions involved it, and the document I wrote took months to create. If he had spoken up, we could have avoided wasting our time on an idea that he was never going to accept. You might wonder why all of us were so invested in ending B and spent so much time on developing it. Well, it's because of ending A. The writers were very unsatisfied by the creative vision of ending A, as are many of the other volunteers. Although we all accept that the Obelisk had the right to adhere to his original vision, we never expected he was dismissive of ending B from the very beginning. It's fine for a director to enforce his creative vision, but it's not fine for a director to hold off on giving his volunteers straight answers about his creative choices, leading to them wasting hours upon hours on brainstorming ideas.
Yep.
I can't work for a director who can't accept responsibility for his own miscommunication. I feel like my work has been disrespected. And then he goes into arbitrary changes in leadership. For the past few months, Soze was the lead writer on Eden's Garden. This is because she has more experience than anyone on the team writing Danganronpa-related material. She wrote a whole 400,000 word plus script for her fan game MK2, or maybe Mark II, I'm not sure. Soze was a very diligent lead writer and was instrumental in helping us meet our deadlines. On September 25th, about a month after Ending B's document was posted, Obelisk brought a new writer onto the team. The writers were confused. None of us were aware that a new writer we brought onto the team. They never submitted a writing application either, so I had no idea what their credentials were. At that point, communication between the director and the original writers had reached a point where all of us were afraid to talk to him. We decided not to question the new writer's appointment until we could arrange a formal meeting. A few days later, the new hire stated that he was the lead writer. Shocked, I asked Soze about the situation. She revealed she had no idea she was being replaced either. I learned more. I learned the writer's credentials from a higher up. Their portfolio did not include any examples of Danganronpa-related or visual novel-style writing. This leads me to assume he hasn't written it for this kind of story before. It makes me question why they were chosen to replace Soze if they did not explicitly produce examples of Danganronpa-related writing. Obelisk's reasoning for replacing Soze was that she was ghosting him. He claimed that she did not respond to his messages and that she refused to meet with them. This is also blatantly untrue. After he refused to read the Ending B document, he never asked to meet with Soze in a meeting. The most recent time he asked for a meeting was on August 16th, where Soze told him they would meet after the Ending B document was posted. Because he refused to read it and didn't respond to her request that he read it, Soze had every right to assume he didn't want to speak with her. Furthermore, even after his refusal to read the ending B document, Soze would still consistently contribute to the project by working on the script and talking in the channels. If he wanted to speak with Soze, he could have very easily DM'd her. It is inaccurate to say that Soze ghosted Obelisk. She was very clearly readily available to him. He simply refused to DM her himself. And it goes without saying, I disagree with the decision to replace Soze as lead writer. Soze has specialized experience working in visual novels. She's been an active contributing force to the project. She's well known amongst the volunteer team. While I can't comment on the new writer's overall ability or leadership skill, I feel like taking Soze's title away was disrespectful to the work she was doing, and the reasoning was clearly flawed. He has a history of disrespecting Soze, as explained in her statement. That's why I'm under the impression that removing her as lead writer... Okay, here's where he gets the spontaneous changes to the plot. I know this has been a journey, but
yeah, this is... Already I'm pretty convinced that, like, you know, there are a couple of bits...
Page are we on?
55.
So
Okay, we're pretty far in.
Because I'm thinking about reading a segment.
Yeah.
I was just kind of listening in, but...
Yeah.
So you're on spontaneous changes to the plot, right?
Yeah, I'm going... Oh, do you want to read that section?
Yeah, I was thinking about doing it, because I kind of want to be more invested in this conversation, too.
That's okay. That's good, yeah. No, there will be time for open conversation. I'm just trying to hit all the highlights.
It's all good. I haven't read anything out loud in a while, so I was thinking about it.
Page 55, reason 3, spontaneous changes to the plot.
All right. When running a team of volunteers, it's necessary to keep everyone updated on relevant information at all times. However, Obelisk refused to communicate important decisions to the writing team until the very last moment. This issue ties directly to the previous 2 reasons too. He refused to be transparent about his disapproval of ending B, and he refused to be transparent about hiring a new lead writer. Refusing to be transparent on, quote, ranged from simply staying quiet about things or outright ignoring us. This became a greater problem when major changes needed to be made to the script. Obelisk wanted to restructure the game in such a way that we would require fewer assets, art, programming, music, etc. to tell a satisfying story. However, he kept this a secret from the writers for months. We only heard about this restructure very recently. It turns out that during the month where he refused to read the ending B document, Obelisk had been secretly working on a document relating to the restructure. He didn't make it clear to any of the writers that this was happening, so we assumed that he wasn't working on writing at all. After all, he did just ignore the massive ending B document. I don't think we were wrong in assuming that at the time he had no interest in brainstorming. When Obelisk dropped the restructured document, he said that it was also written to make the story more clear. He claimed that the writing for the game was all over the place, quote, and that we didn't have a clear image of what was going on. And then there's a screenshot of what he said.
Yeah, of course they don't have a clear image of what's going on. You're not telling them shit!
Yeah, this is also blatantly untrue again. All the writers are very much familiar with what the story is. The only confusion involved the ending of the story, and as you already know, Obelisk refused to cooperate with the writers in discussing that. When I looked through the restructured document, I knew immediately that it would have greatly benefited from having early feedback. Whole trials and character arcs were changed, sometimes for inexplicable reasons. Details about character nuances, which the writers had crafted over the past few months, were ignored. It did not make clear what our story was, so much as it randomly inserted and removed plot beats. It's appalling that Obelisk claimed that the writer's work was all over the place, and then proceeded to post such a messy and disorganized document in response. If Obelisk had been transparent about the restructured document, many of these issues could have been resolved early on. The restructured story also included negative stereotypes about real-world mental disorders.
Oh man, I can't wait to hear about this.
It would even be accurate to say that these negative stereotypes served as the driving force behind major plot beats and character motivation. I believe that the writers have always been more sensitive to problematic portrayals in media, so if we were involved in the decision-making process early on, we could have removed those stereotypes before they absolutely devoured the plot. It also didn't help my motivation that he informed us about this restructure during the period of time where he refused to read the ending B document. He basically ignored the writers for an entire month before popping in and saying, "Oh, by the way, you're gonna have to throw out 70% of your plan for the game." To put it simply, I was frustrated and tired when I read through the restructured plot. There was so much stuff to fix and so little motivation to do so. I was not going to take the time necessary to fill in underdeveloped story details, ask questions about confusing sections, and educate Obelisk about why vilifying the mentally ill is bad. I ended up not even leaving feedback on the new document because by then I had made the decision to leave the team. I understand Obelisk's reasoning for restructuring the story, assuming that his sole intention was to minimize the number of assets required. However, there was no need to keep it a secret from us so long, especially when he relied on the expertise of the writers to further his project. Section over.
Yeah,
The next
my god.
You can talk about that. The next section's also pretty important, though.
Okay, well, keep going.
And wait. Alright, reason 4. Refusal to allow cross-team critique. Throughout my time as a writer, I would frequently receive critique from non-writing volunteers. Large aspects of our plot could be directed by the other volunteers. The writers were sometimes expected to compromise on our story ideas when other volunteers didn't like them. However, when Soze and I attempted to critique the game's UI design, Obelisk met us with hostility and essentially told us to stay in our lane. I was shocked by this. I thought that the critique I'd given for the UI was very... In fact, after Obelisk told me to stop critiquing the UI, he immediately started making changes that, in my opinion, didn't look fantastic. I felt like I was forced to sit back and watch as a prominent visual element of the game was eviscerated before my eyes. Damn! I acknowledge that I am not a professional UI designer. However, I still think that my input would be valuable to anyone who is. The UI critiques I made were simple and many other people in the channels agreed with them. I feel like I was held to a terrible double standard as a writer. While I was discouraged from critiquing other writers were allowed to critique mine at any given moment. Thank you. Finally, someone calls that out. I don't understand this. Writing is not any easier than composing, UI design, or art. Thank you. In the end, Obelisk ended up making a special private channel for UI design, making sure that the writers couldn't see it. He claimed that we were clogging up the channels with our criticisms and that we were criticizing assets that weren't even close to complete. This is also blatantly untrue, again, ×2.
Again, ×2.
He literally says that. I only ever criticized assets once they were close to completion. In fact, assets would pretty much only be posted to the staff channel when they were at least 90% complete. Obelisk seems to have an intense aversion to all forms of criticism. He doesn't let the writers criticize other teams' work, nor does he let us criticize his own story vision. This is a stifling creative environment to be in. Yeah. This was also reflected in the time when Obelisk was incredibly rude to Soze after she critiqued the music of the game. Obelisk even yelled at me during that exchange, even though I wasn't actually in the conversation. Maybe he was so embittered by my past critiques that he automatically assumed that I was on the same side as Soze. Wow. Oh my god.
That was a very spirited reading of that. Thank you.
That's just how I am. I whenever I speak, I just really impassioned about it. So that's kind of why I wanted to read out.
Yeah. No, that's good. That's good. That was great.
Yeah. People have told me, hey, you got a good radio voice. You should host a podcast. And I'm like, really? And here I am on one. So do you guys want to take over the next section unless we're not reading anymore?
I want to skip through this because this one just reiterates a lot of the same stuff, a lot of refusal to accept mistakes, yada yada yada. But later on, there's something I do want to read here. Where is it? This hostility. Am I still on? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Let's go.
Okay. This hostility reached a peak during the March incident. I entered a voice chat with Obelisk, and he said that the staff team was upset by how he suddenly removed Soze. He told me that he knew it might happen. It might cause all the writers to leave the team, and he said he was fully prepared for it to happen, and I was appalled. Obelisk had so nonchalantly stated that all of his writers were disposable, despite the fact that his project is a literal novel. Most of the team had moved on from the incident after Soze was rehired, but I remained concerned about the team's environment. There was only one reason I can think of for why Obelisk would act so differently around the writers than he did the other volunteers, and why he wasn't at all worried about the writers leaving. It's because all of us were vocal about our support of ending B. I believe that Obelisk was resentful of the writers for challenging his vision, and he chose to mistreat us on that basis. He punished perceived slights to his creative vision, like the ending B document, by callously ignoring our messages. It's horrible to think that all this mistreatment happened simply because we didn't like his writing, but I don't see any other explanation. I have another explanation I'd like to propose. And it's something I've talked about before, where in a lot of projects like this, writers are often seen as the most disposable element.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is because anyone can do it. And it seems to me like Obelisk only had other writers around because he wanted to, what's the word I'm looking for? Divide and conquer, fucking delineate responsibility. Basically, he wanted other people to do the grunt work. You know, when it comes to the reason he probably treated the arts team and the music team and the programmers with more respect is probably because he might not have been able to do those things. So, you know, he needed to play nice with them because not only is that stuff he couldn't do himself, but also stuff that would be hard to find people willing to do for free, you know? Whereas the writers, it's nice to have people, in his mind, it's nice to have people to delineate that responsibility to and break up his workload, but he doesn't really need them. There's other people that could do that, and if push comes to shove, he could totally do it himself.
What a fucking horrible mindset.
Yeah, that's not his word. That's my interpretation from this, which I think is pretty valid. That seems to be what he was thinking.
You know, it's congruent with everything that we've seen, or rather, in my case, heard in this document so far. Mm-hmm. Like everything that we've everything that we've seen / heard in this document so far kind of points towards Obelisk having this baseline disrespect for the writers compared to every other element of the team, and that is not a good way to again, it's not a good way to be a project lead when you are deliberately being dismissive and derogatory towards one part of the team, one very core part of the team. Like, it's a visual novel being in the fucking name. Writers are a huge part of that, and like, oh my god, fuck.
It seems like Obelisk would have benefited from reading my How to Write a Fangan. Where I go into this.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember that one.
Yeah.
It's like, moral of the story: do not demean writers because they will call you out on your shit.
Yeah, that too. But also, a big point I made in there was that if you're not paying other people, creative control will be your currency. If you expect people to help you bring your vision to life for no pay, then they're going to expect some kind of control over it, or at least some kind of input. And that I think that for collaborative fan projects like that is very much paramount, because there's no money involved. It's all just creative control being spread around. And if you're that's the reason why I do everything myself, is because I knew from the start I didn't want to compromise on my vision. I don't want other people telling me what to do. I don't want them saying that this doesn't make sense or this is problematic or whatever. I don't want to deal with other people's opinions, so I do it all myself. I take on that burden because I want full control. And if Obelisk wants full control, maybe he should do the same fucking thing.
In other words, be based.
Yeah. Essentially. And like, I'm a little bothered by the mentally ill thing as well, because they don't provide any evidence of that. I don't know, like, I don't have any reason to doubt them, but I also don't have any reason to believe them, and these writers strike me as kind of the sensitive types. So, I don't know how bad it actually was. To me, it just, without evidence, it just seems like another thing they're throwing on the pile, like the VTuber thing, where they're like, oh, by the way, he's problematic for this reason. And like, I don't have any evidence of that, so I can't say one way or the other. I can't offer any input.
Yeah, the whole VTuber avatar thing is such a... Just take that out of the fucking... We don't need that here.
Like, that and the mentally ill thing you can't or you refuse to provide evidence for. It's just like, that doesn't help. That weakens your argument when you just pile on extra shit. Like, oh, by the way, he fucking punched a dog when he was 9.
Yeah,
it's like... It's not relevant.
Yeah, I do want to believe that, like... like, broadly speaking, I want to trust their judgment in terms of them seeing what Obelisk wanted to do with the writing as being problematic and offensive in terms of its treatment of the mentally ill. I want to believe them, but at the same time, I'm not entirely sure whether or not that can be trusted, because they don't give any examples, and they can't really come up with any concrete examples of what exactly was offensive about it and why. They just say it was offensive towards and dismissive of the mentally ill, and I'm like, okay, but how though?
Well,
That's kind of an important thing.
Yeah, it seems to me like they just didn't want to leak anything to cause any further drama. So, and they realized what they had wrote about the changes wasn't really convincing, because it's like we have nothing tangible to grab onto. We don't know how ending A differed from ending B.
Yeah.
So they might have latched onto this one thing, and I don't know how true it is. I don't know to what extent it's true. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I'm not saying they're liars. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying maybe they are. I don't know. I try to look at things with the most objective stance possible, and again, I'm only going based on what is written in this document. But if true, that is something I will say that, like, you know, could have. I do agree that if that is the case, then it could have benefited from some feedback, because I'm sure I've also, you know, I scoff it off a lot of the times because, you know, I never intend to offend or insult people. Well, okay, well, mostly, but you know what I'm saying? Like, not like in a serious way, you know. I don't try to like include actually hateful elements in my work, but maybe sometimes they slip through, and maybe that's with a project as collaborative as this, it would have been helpful for feedback. I think they have a point that he needed to communicate this. That's the main thing, is that, like, whatever the fuck he was doing, he needed to communicate it. Whether it was going to change or not, he needed to communicate and respect his fucking writers.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
So...
Zeke, you want to take the next section?
Maybe. I'm going to just scroll through it real quick to see if it's worth reading. Because we do have a lot of Reddit stuff to read in a sec.
Yeah, and this particular segment, we're running on an hour now, so...
Yeah, I was thinking of that, and the Reddit thing, I saw the tweet about that, I'm like, yeah, let's get into that.
Yeah,
so,
we do that every
I think,
episode.
Yeah, that's just the Baka Gaijin experience. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else really worth reading. Again, I'm going to see if I can link this... Oh, like it's hard. No, I'm going to link this in the description for anyone who wants to read it. This, and there's also a second document where another writer chimed in. It was like, hey, I missed the first one, but here's my stance. But yeah, basically, the moral of the story is, you know, in a collaborative project, don't be like this guy. You know, I think one thing that does bother me is the fact that they pushed out this huge document in like 5 days after this happened.
Yeah.
You know, and I'm just like, I don't know if Obelisk is a truly unforgivable figure. It just seems like he's kind of a dunce and a bad leader.
Yeah.
You know?
I can agree there.
You know, so I hope he turns himself around. I hope he learns something from this, and he respects the people that are, you know, bringing his vision to life for him more. You know, and fucking allows this cross communication and allow this open, you know, whatever weird hang-ups he has about clogging channels and not leaking information or whatever. Get over yourself, dude. You know, it's nobody fucking cares but you. You know, if you want to get shit done, you need to respect and communicate with the people you're working with. You know, it's like, I don't like giving up creative control, so I don't usually work with other people for that reason. You know, but obviously when you have grander ambitions and pros, you need to involve other people. But like I said in the blog, in the How to Make a Fangan blog, when you invite other people in and you don't pay them, creative control is the currency, and you need to be able to be looser with your ideas.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we just wanted to cover that, the Project Eden's Garden drama. What's going to happen with the project? I don't know. It'll probably go forward in some respect. You know, I'm sure either because I looked in the server and a lot of the other teams and whatever never left or anything. The server's locked down now, but it'll probably open up again. We'll have to stay tuned to see what happens. I think they're probably going to keep chugging along with different people. Maybe Obelisk will change his ways. Maybe he won't. Either way, I think it's going to keep chugging on. I think they have so much done at this point that, like, one way or the other, like, things are going to go forward.
Yeah, by the end of 2022, not fucking likely, but...
Yeah, probably not. But, you know...
That's exactly like I said earlier.
Yeah, like if they were doing the demo like 2 months ago, like the demo prologue stuff 2 months ago, there's no fucking way they were gonna write the whole story in 1 year, or like do all the other things they need to do with the modeling and the sprites and the art, and there's no fucking way. That was an unrealistic deadline. That's the other thing. Fan project.
In theory, they could try to, but it would probably end up showing that it was rushed if they actually.
Well, yeah, and that's the thing is that like fan projects should never have deadlines because it's like, what the fuck, like who, like why? Like the reason why commercial projects have deadlines is because of investors and quarterly earnings and shit like that, like actual money being spent.
I don't think that just goes for fan projects. That just goes for like even individual projects. I wrote actually 2 writing tips blogs. The first one I did was back in June, and it was just about general writing and like blogging. And I did one a couple months ago that was about like how to write a decent like story, like kind of. And in both of them, I said like, you're not doing this shit for a school project. You know, this is your vision. You just do it at your own pace. Don't set a deadline for yourself unless you deem it detrimental. You know, you might have 2 blogs in a day, 2 stories in a day. You might have nothing for a month. It's all up to you.
Yeah. There's no reason to just arbitrarily limit or restrict yourself like that. Like all this deadline shit does in this context is just create unnecessary panic and anxiety and just stress that doesn't need to fucking be there. I have no idea why he wanted it, why he set a deadline like that. It seems like that's another shitty thing, another shitty idea from Obelisk. Let's just say. Yeah. So I think that's about all. We just want to report on this, and if there's any further developments, we will let you know. Because we at the Baka Gaijin show, we just fucking love drama. We're just all about that drama. We love living vicariously through other people's mistakes.
I assume you mean reporting on the drama rather than actually being involved in it, of course.
Yeah, no, keep us out of it.
Nobody cancel me because I said this is slightly grayer than black and white.
It's like, oh, I love drama. No, what I meant was I love reporting on drama and kind of watching behind the scenes. Put me in drama, I'll find a way out of it.
Yeah, I don't want to be in the next fucking Weeby video where she's like, and then Zeke Freak entered the fray and said some hot takes that people didn't like.
Well, look on the bright side. That would be good publicity for him.
That's true. That's true. Hey, Weeby, please include me in your video, but also include all my links below. You can call me whatever you want. Just advertise my shit.
Link my bronze, silver, and gold wiki entries down there, and make sure to read the Kaede stories. I do. They're cute, and you're basically reading about your.
Yeah. We don't care if you call us shitheads. Just advertise our shit, please. Yeah. Kevin doesn't make anything, but you can dox them if you want.
No, please, no.
I don't know how to dox people, man. I wrote a whole article about doxing incidents in the fandom, and I'm like, yeah, shut up. Also, by the way, if you type in Danganronpa doxing on Google, the article I did is one of the first things that comes up. So basically, don't do shit like that, or minds will put you in your place.
Okay.
Yeah. So Kevin, if you wake up with eggs covering your windows, that's probably why.
Noted. Thank you. Help.
Anyway, that's the tea, sis, as the kids say. And we're gonna go Reddit diving in the 3rd segment, so stay tuned. Hello and welcome back to the Baka Gaijin show. I have orange chicken.
Yay!
The recording coincided with dinner time.
It's the best kind of chicken.
Yeah, and to give my poor voice a rest, I'm gonna let these guys read some of the Reddit posts today.
Yep.
The big one I'm saving for myself, but we gotta lead up to that.
Of course.
Escalation.
So,
don't want to blow your load too early.
Minds, are you ready to take that radio voice of yours and give it a workout?
Okay, so you're becoming self-aware of that now. Okay, yep, I'm ready for it.
Yep. Kevin's going first, but yes, you will be ready.
All right, so Zeke, if you can...
what deep? Where's the message? Should I just go to New on Reds?
No, I'll send it to you. It's fine.
Well,
I sent it to Kevin. Send it for Kevin first, though.
All right, so I'll just wait for Zeke to send me the link to the first story.
I did. I sent you the link.
There it is. We're beginning with an Am I the Asshole story. These are always fun. I love these. I mentioned this last time, like a couple episodes ago. These are a perfect opportunity for, armchair psychology.
Exactly.
Am I the asshole For throwing out jelly my wife intentionally contaminated with peanut butter. Alright. Well, we're starting off on an interesting footnote here. Okay. Tonight, my wife, 31 female, and I, 32 male, were making ourselves sandwiches for a late dinner. I decided to make turkey, and she decided to make peanut butter and jelly. I've watched her stick a knife into the peanut butter, spread it on the bread, and stick the same knife into the jar of strawberry jelly without cleaning it off or using a different knife. I asked her if she was serious right now and if she could please not contaminate food intentionally.
What the?
You're not supposed to cross the streams, don't you know?
Yeah, exactly.
She responded saying that this was jelly specifically for peanut butter and jelly, so it was fine. I said I sometimes eat jelly without peanut butter, and either way it was disgusting. Bruh.
Me too.
She said Sorry. She said, fine, and went over to the sink and rinsed off the knife, but only partially. She came back over to the table and stuck the same knife, still with some peanut butter on it, into the same jar again, and finished making her sandwich. After she was done, I took the jar out of the fridge and threw it in the trash. She took it out of the trash, put it back in the fridge, and now she's not talking to me. Am I the asshole? Edit. No, I'm not allergic to peanuts. Edit 2. My wife asked me to add that she's pregnant, and peanut butter and jelly is pretty much the only sandwich she can have.
You know what I think makes this guy the asshole? Is the fact that this stupid, mundane bullshit, he's like, you know what? This is important enough. I need the internet's opinion about this.
Dude, you are being so fucking petty.
This might be the pettiest fucking Aita post I've seen in a while.
Wow.
It's up there. It's really up there.
Well, it's not as petty as seeing people like, you know, say, hey, if you ship these characters, don't interact with me. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Jesus.
But by Aita standards, it's like usually the things people write about are like big events or like huge dramas or something. This guy's just like, my wife stuck a knife in jelly with peanut butter on it. And now I'm angry.
As soon as you started reading that shit, I'm like, wait, is this really am I the asshole subreddit?
Yeah, well, the comments seem to be about on the same page. You're the asshole. Contaminated? Really? Unless you're allergic to peanuts, this is the most childish hill to die on I've ever heard. And then another person says, this sub should make a poll of childish, light, average, serious, where childish posts automatically are deleted after voting. I'm here for the drama, not some stupid disagreement about PB&J. Even the people on the Aita subreddit are like, are you real right now?
Well,
not a real Aita. Downvoted plus
according to him, that is drama worthy, so maybe his priorities are definitely straight.
I just can't get over this.
I mean, that's
it's
sarcastically for anyone hearing.
This is just, oh my god, I just love how utterly, like, he is dedicated to this. It's like, no, she's the asshole and I'm gonna prove it. Am I the asshole? It's like, yes! Not only because this is so petty, but you decided to bring it onto a subreddit to find out if you're the asshole or not. Yes, you are. Fuck off. I just love how petty this is. It's so funny.
Yeah. One sec. I'm gonna.
This
I'm
is
gonna
the. We don't. You don't get petty Aitas like this very often.
Yeah.
But this one was fun. I like this one.
All right, Mines. I'm sending you one now.
All right. Can't wait to hear what this one is. We're just waiting.
Just send him a DM.
You guys can still hear me, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I hear you. Yep.
Okay, here we go. Am I the asshole for not accommodating my brother's vegan fiance? Full disclosure, I do not eat meat, eggs, and dairy. That being said, I'm lazy.
No. He says he does. He does.
I really say not. Okay, let me start that over. Am I the asshole for not accommodating my brother's vegan fiance? Full disclosure, I do eat meat, eggs, and dairy. That being said, I'm lazy and prepping and cooking meat takes more work than I'm willing to do a lot of the time. So I've built up a pretty okay repertoire of vegetarian and vegan meals. That's why I volunteered to cook last night for a small family dinner, even though I would normally never.
Okay.
Love my mom to bits, but if the first step isn't browning a pound of ground beef, she's a little lost on what to make. This is all a thing because my brother has recently gotten engaged to a vegan woman. None of us have really spent a lot of time with her due to pandemics and generally having our own lives. Wow, he doesn't want to make her a part of his life, okay? The time I have spent with her has been perfectly nice. I thought this would also be perfectly nice. So I did my best. I put together a Dijon vinaigrette. How do you fucking say that word?
Dijon vinaigrette.
Vinaigrette salad. Pasta tossed with roasted asparagus and cherry tomatoes. And because this is America, where carb on carb doesn't have to be just a dream, some bread I fucking vetted to make sure it didn't have milk or eggs in it. She could eat every single thing served. At least I thought so. We sat down, plates are dished, she has questions. Whatever, fair enough. I can imagine that she's been in situations where things seem safe to eat, but surprise, there's honey in the salad dressing or something. Assurances were made. I did my homework, but she has other complaints. Roasted the veggies in olive oil. There's olive oil in the salad dressing. The pasta isn't whole wheat. This is white bread. Yes, vegan. All of it. But not stripped down to as few calories as possible. And how she won't eat. Just sat there and tore one of the rolls up into tiny pieces until the table was clear. My brother texted me later that night about how fucked up it was that she had to go home hungry, and this is why this is where I may be the asshole. I replied something in the effect of saying I thought I had to cook to accommodate veganism, not an eating disorder. Shit, escalating. He told me to go fuck myself, which again, fair. Now I imagine a Cold War is brewing and mom is inevitably gonna get sucked in. I also could have tried to make something healthier, though I don't think what was served was that bad. Am I the asshole?
You're gonna have to give me a hot second on this one. Woo.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, you know what? They were both assholes. Her for overreaction, him for, he said. I don't really know. There's no bad guy here. Unless two people are the bad guys. So
yeah, so
everybody's the bad guy.
So my stance here is that on one hand, he was trying his best to accommodate her and create a nice, full, filling meal for her under her very specific specifications. Vegan, trying to be as vegan as possible and trying to, keep to that. And he was trying to accommodate her as much as possible, even though, he's not crazy on it. And that's appreciative. But it's weird that she was just like, oh, but it's got too many carbs or whatever. It's like, it's too whatever. Like, girl, you don't have to eat everything he put on the plate. You can just eat what you want to eat, and you can just kind of be like, I'm done now. Like, you don't have to just sit there and starve yourself just because he made a dish that's, too fattening for you or whatever the shit. Like, yeah. You're being...
Yeah, all I can picture about the whole thing is just like a little 10-year-old kid pouting because he doesn't want to eat his veggies.
Exactly, that's what I'm thinking. But in this case, it's just like, I don't want to eat this, it's too fattening. Then don't eat all of it.
In the comments,
eat what you can eat and just move on. But this guy complicates things by being the asshole back and just outright insulting her to her husband when and admittedly the husband wasn't really seeing his side of the story here, but that didn't exactly give him the right to insult the wife back. That was just that was out of pocket, man.
The comments say, not the asshole. Seems rude you cooked a vegan dinner and she didn't eat any of it. What is the problem with olive oil? And people go on to say, olive oil is super beneficial and tasty. And what you prepared sounds really great. She's just super picky and that's not your problem. If you're vegan, your body still needs fat from somewhere, and olive oil is probably one of the best places to get it.
Yeah, I actually found out if you use olive oil on toast instead of butter, it's actually better for you. In fact, that's something that my dad taught me.
Yeah, I've actually had olive oil on toast, and it doesn't taste bad, actually. It's pretty good.
Most vegan diets recommend a fat of some kind like olive oil due to the omegas included. And aside from that, there's only really corn or sunflower oils that people use. So what does she expect? She sounds entitled and nasty. It sounds like a no-win situation.
Admittedly.
Yeah, it's like it's like this is like she's like the embodiment of all negative vegan stereotypes.
Which we love on this show. Almost every week we like to shit on vegans, and it's fun.
I have met like maybe 2 vegans in my life who are not complete asshats.
It's only a matter of time, Kevin. I'm telling you.
I'm telling you. I hope it's not.
Reminds me when Ice-T's metal band made an album called Carnivore. They asked him why they named it that. He said, it's basically fuck vegans. Everyone's so right now.
Ice-T is based.
Yeah, he definitely is. But he kind of speaks his mind a little too freely sometimes. Have you seen the shit that he's posted lately?
No, I have not.
I follow him on Twitter. And yes, I have.
Yeah, because like I said, he liked one of my tweets, but the tweet that he liked was me suggesting that a singer be on their next Body Count record, which is his metal band, and he liked that. And I was like, I posted it on Locust. That's the guy from Danganronpa, who used to write a lot, who likes metal. Yeah. I was like, bro, Ice-T liked one of my tweets. Now I can die in peace.
Somebody brings up an interesting point, where oftentimes veganism is used as a cover for eating disorders.
Yeah.
In either case, does not excuse being an asshole about it.
Yeah.
If you don't want to eat shit, don't be an entitled bitch about it.
Yeah, I still
I'm pretty firmly on. I'm pretty firmly on not the asshole, but I think his response was less than pleasant.
Yeah, she was probably the bigger asshole though, like overall, because the amount of effort he went into to accommodate her, and she was just a complete dick about it.
Yeah. Kevin, I'm sending you another one.
Alrighty then, let's take a look at this. Let's see. It's another item. You are big on the items today, aren't you, buddy?
There's some Tifus coming, don't you worry.
Those are fun too. I love them. Mm-hmm. Alright, so, if it will load, give it a hot second.
If it'll please the court, and it does. The court is pleased.
Let's see. Give it here we go. Am I the asshole for refusing to let our daughter do gymnastics or ballet? When my husband and I first started talking about kids, I was very firm that if I had daughters, I didn't want them doing gymnastics or ballet. Already, I can tell you right now, probably the asshole. Probably.
Some people are just bad at hiding it.
Watch your kid to do gymnastics, Akane will kick your ass.
I have a history of eating disorders, and I just don't want to put my daughters in sports with a high incidence of that. Oh boy. Jeez. Yeah, I'll get into that one in a little bit. I did ballet 10 years, and the damage that it did to my psyche is irreversible. Also, my husband and I are both tall, and both those sports favor petite girls. I don't want to give my daughter reasons to be insecure about her height. So our daughter is 6 and has shown some interest in ballet since 2 of her school friends are enrolled in it. I just said no. I know they are kids, but once you sign them up for the sports as a kid, I don't think there's some arbitrary age where it suddenly becomes toxic. We enrolled her in soccer and singing, plus piano lessons, which she seems to be enjoying. I was recently at a mother-in-law's house after she watched our kids for a weekend, and she said I should sign my daughter up for ballet because she, quote, likes to dance. I explained that I wasn't going to and explained why. My mother-in-law said I was being cruel to my child for having a vendetta against ballet and gymnastics, and said all little girls want to do those sports. Yeah, that's a whole other fucking ball of wax there.
Fuck stereotypes. How is that still a thing?
Woo! Welcome to the modern age. I just told my mother-in-law hold up, this is weirdly phrased, give me a second. I just told my mother-in-law that although I appreciate her help, the fuck?
It's just badly written.
It's my job to make parenting decisions and do what I think is best for my daughter. I was a bit annoyed at my husband because he didn't even stand up for me, even though we have talked about it multiple times. I kind of went off at him later that night, and he said although he sees my point and supports me, it was kind of unfair on our daughter because she won't really understand why I'm not letting her do ballet. This is literally the first time he said anything negative about my aversion to gymnastics and ballet, and I was a bit taken aback. Am I the asshole here?
I love the edit.
Edit. LMAO. The misogyny of some of the comments saying I'm projecting my insecurities on my daughter.
What?
You are, though! You are! That is exactly what you're doing!
That's like if I said it was misandrous if someone projected their insecurities on their son. Like, it's just you projecting your insecurities. That has nothing to do with your sex. I mean, I don't know if you agree with that, but
if it helps, I also have a firm rule about not allowing my son to play tackle football. Am I projecting my personal insecurities onto him as well? Yes.
Yes. Yes.
This is about protecting them, not my insecurities. Lol.
No. If
you have to scream, this is not about my insecurities. I have one guess what it might actually be about.
It's like I don't remember what story I wrote this quote in, but I once said it's like when someone in a movie says follow your dreams, but they're really saying follow my dreams that I picked out for you.
Yeah, this is basically like the real life version of that.
Yeah, it's like the common trope. It's like, no, I don't want to play this sport. I want to do this because I actually have. I don't want to say I have ambitions because a lot of these people are kids, but you know what kind of story.
Well, kids can have ambition.
Maybe I was just a really boring ass kid.
They want to eat all the crayons in the crayon box.
Never give up all your dreams.
Did that actually happen? Because I don't remember eating crayons when I was a kid.
Me neither, but apparently it does.
Yeah, I was a civilized child, and I ate the glue sticks.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I got suspended 6 times in middle school, so I wasn't very civilized. But again,
those are rookie
I turned
numbers.
myself around as I got older, though, so that's a good thing.
Those are rookie numbers. I didn't even bother keeping count.
Yeah. So we're all. It's one of those. This is a weird situation where she kind of showcases exactly why she's the asshole in her edits.
Yeah, top comment lays it out pretty plain though.
Yeah. You're the asshole. You're letting your own insecurities and issues affect your daughter's life, and that's a sign of a bad parent. I am a very short person, as are my parents. I am obviously not going to do so well in basketball. Did that stop them from letting me practice and try out for the school team? No. I didn't do well by any means. I was dominated by all the taller players, but they let me try. You should let your daughters dance.
Now I can relate to that. Basketball is the only sport I know how to play, and I'm only 5'8", which is I would be like a literal little person if I played it professionally. But like but I didn't let that stop me. I was always the shortest guy. I'm not great at the sport, but I'm pretty good at it. And people still give me the ball. It's not like they're not going to give you a chance because of your height. It's like, why do you think that there was a guy who was 5'3" in the NBA? Because he was good and they let him try.
God, these are some of the these are some of the most amusing stories because they literally tell you exactly why you're the asshole, but it doesn't, for some reason, it does not click with them that that's why they're the asshole, and they've tricked themselves in their mind that, like, what they're doing is, like, something that's, like, righteous, or, like, they're doing something for the betterment of, you know, the other person, when in reality they're just projecting onto them, and they're making...
Yeah, it's easy to hyper-focus on, I'm helping someone else.
Because that's exactly how my dad was.
Yeah.
Still is. He just fails to recognize that, and he wonders why I told him get your shit together, and then we'll talk later. It's like yeah, it sucks that your family, but you gotta call out bullshit when you see it.
Yeah, I agree. Oh my god, these are fun. So yeah, official Baka Gaijin show. And by the way, the Aita subreddit also agrees, asshole. So yeah. You're the asshole.
I'm done eating, so I'm gonna read the next one.
All right.
And this one, much like the Don Draper story from last week, I just like it because it paints a picture of a character, you know?
Yeah.
So this one is, am I the asshole for doing a welfare check on my girl who's living in a dangerous environment? My girl, age 28 female, and I, 32 male, have been together 8 months. She lives with her friend Gerard, 27 male, who owns a home. Gerard seems like a great guy, very friendly, down to earth, weeks from being a psychiatrist. Medical studies were demanding of him. But we all got along whenever I was over. I'm a cop.
Oh, boy. Here
I'm
we
a
go.
cop. Where we live, marijuana is common, but still illegal. As a law enforcer, I honor the law, but also anti-drugs for personal reasons. It is not harmless. My peers who smoked marijuana in school are now deadbeats, and my best mate got rejected from the army because he'd used marijuana before, and now drives trucks. Trucks! I have not discussed this view with my girl, but I think being a law enforcer implies my stance, plus nothing about her life gives me a reason to suspect she thinks drug use is okay. Sometimes when Gerard hung with us, I suspected he had used the marijuana. I'm trained to suspect it. I am trained to suspect it. But Gerard's profile did not fit an addict, nor would my girl accept living with one. Likely my judgment was wrong and he was just tired from studies. But unfortunately, my instincts were correct. A few weeks ago, I arrived at my girl's house before she had. I let myself in and went to the balcony. Gerard was there. We were casually chatting when he puffs on a joint and even offers me a puff. I am fuming. This guy literally offered a cop drugs. So clearly he's offered my girl drugs. I'm terrified for her safety in this environment. Really, as a law enforcer, it is my civic duty to enforce the law, but my judgment was that Gerard could be reasoned with. I made him aware of my obligation and that his drug use also hurts society and others around him, as well as himself. As a cop, and because he lives with my girl, I'll charge him if my girl is put in danger again. He denied the severity of his use, said he will stop around me, but does not respect my attitude or behavior in his house. Mildly insulting response after letting him off, but understandable it was not taken well. He's an addict, and I've made use harder for him with his own home. My girl comes home. We both explain what's unfolded. My girl says it's a lot and I should go home for the night. The next day, the city is in lockdown. I am not able to address Gerard nor my girl what happened. The last few weeks, she's talking to me less and less. My anxiety knowing my girl is locked down in such a toxic situation is overwhelming. Last week, I decided to do a welfare check, but send my partner in. Like cop partner. He did it, but afterwards said it was fucked up of me. Later that night, my girl cut it entirely and filed a complaint against me. I truly didn't believe I had done anything wrong and was just trying to protect my girl, but I've lost my girl and am in career trouble. But both my girl and my partner think I'm fucked, so maybe I am. Am I the asshole?
One.
Oh,
yes.
Wow. It's like a white knight situation
real
where the person with the...
One.
It's like a white knight situation.
Yeah, one.
The way you made...
Sorry, go ahead. Sorry.
Said like, this. It's like a white knight scenario, except for the person without the partner is the target. Like, you're like, my girl.
As a cop, my civic duty. He's an addict. I'm trained to suspect this.
This guy.
Clayton.
What
Clayton
a character. Touch grass, motherfucker. Oh my god.
Oh wait, did you? Oh, remember, Zeke? Remember when someone commented and told you to touch grass and you actually touched the grass?
Yeah,
I saw that on Twitter.
Owned.
And by touch grass,
this guy could use a little grass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Top comment, you're the asshole. The phrase my girl alone is coming across as very creepy. Looks like karma really is what they say.
Oh,
I came to the comments literally to say that he would be the asshole purely for repeatedly calling his adult ex-partner my girl so much it made me throw up a little in my mouth.
Oh, ex-partner. No wonder.
OP, you're the asshole. This is obsessive controlling behavior masquerading as being protective and an extraordinary abuse of power. Very justified to now be in trouble at work and also single. The fact that he still says have been together 8 months when she's clearly already broken up with him is also concerning.
Yeah.
How is he not recognizing that her filing a complaint against him was the end of her being his girl?
Because his judgment is so clouded from all the bullshit that he puts up in his head.
I think my favorite comment is OP thinks being a cop is a personality.
He does. He does.
Yeah, it's like it's like when a lot of people think that liking a character is a personality. It's like, no. I'm sorry, somebody had to say that.
Nah, you good. You good.
Right now, he's probably reading all these comments trying to figure out how to do quote-unquote welfare checks on all of us. I was going to say doing welfare checks is always going to piss off your partner because no one wants cops at their house, and then I read that he is a fucking cop, so okay.
Yeah, that just kind of... that just explains itself, really.
Yeah, you're an asshole and a pig, and we don't like you. Fuck off.
Yeah.
An asshole and a pig. Two kinds of pig.
Yep. Let's go to some Tifu.
Woo!
That stands for Today I Fucked Up. But I gotta find...
I'm ready.
One. Okay. You want to read this one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I got skipped over because of you, but I'm just playing. It's all good.
That's okay. Let me just send it to you. There we go. This is a small fuck up, apparently.
Can't wait to see,
Alright, we'll see how small it really is. Let's see. Today I fucked up by using an old commercial jingle at work that caused me to get hauled into human resources for possible sexual harassment. Wait,
what?
How does this tie in? I gotta read this shit. Okay, here we go. An Xer here. A jingle at work caused me to get hauled. Wait, did they sing the sexual harassment panda theme song?
No, I don't. Probably not.
Gen Xer here. I love old commercial jingles, especially ones from the 70s and 80s, and often I will use them to make commentary on things I'm doing. We were in a meeting with sales and marketing, and we're discussing a new initiative that would involve both parties in a way we've never done before. One of the younger marketing women was outlining this, and I said, "You've got your chocolate in my peanut butter."
Oh,
this is a popular tagline for Reese's peanut butter cups back in the day, and I was using it to, I thought, illustrate how we were putting two good things together. To make it worse, some of the older meeting participants laughed. Didn't think anything of it until I had the head of HR come into my office and ask to see me. Apparently, the young woman who was in her 20s had never heard of the commercial and thought I was making a sexually charged remark at her. Even the HR person hadn't heard of the commercial. I had to go online and actually pull up the commercial for them to believe me. I'll never live this down. What the fuck? Update. Nothing bad happened to me. Everyone kind of laughed it off and it was seen as a teachable moment, but honestly it just made me feel old and misunderstood. The old way of the office where women or people of color had to ignore a battery of comments was untenable, and I'm glad things have changed. We're all better for it, but I do believe the pendulum has swung too far the other way so that everyone is afraid of saying anything. I guess that's true to some extent, but I don't have any animosity to HR. They were just doing their job, and none to the woman. I think that younger generations have been taught to not accept the subtle dog whistles and innuendo that plagued historical society, and as such have sometimes lost the subtleties of conversations which don't always have to be negative. Things are more binary with them at times. I think they have to be that way.
Yeah.
It gives a workplace rules where everything is more equal. That's generally a great thing, but there's also a levity and organic element that's lost too. I don't know the answer. I will, however, be keeping to myself much more as a result, and be less likely to share my jingles. LOL. Update number 2. Surprisingly, a lot of people are saying that I shouldn't use any older sayings that people may not understand. First, this was from the 1980s, not the 1880s, and was a pretty popular yeah, no shit, it's not for the 1880s. They didn't even have TVs back then. Second, when I was younger, I knew things that, geez, how long is this update? Second, when I was younger, I knew things that happened before I was born. But yeah, so do I. That's literally a part of researching stuff. I didn't assume culture or history started when I came into this world. Well, congratulations, you're like 99% of the planet. Third, does this go both ways? Should younger people refrain from using phrases that older people may not understand? I don't know. From the consensus in the comments, there doesn't seem to be a consensus. Why did you say that there was a consensus? Either people feel I should have been burned alive or that the young woman should have. What? There's no moderation anymore. An amusing tale of miscommunication suddenly becomes a sounding board for whatever generational baggage we all bring to the table, and that's pretty sad to me. Too long didn't read. In using an old commercial jingle to make a complimentary comment, I instead ended up being hauled into HR for sexual harassment.
Oh my god.
Wow.
This seems like a small fuck up that just kind of snowballed though.
Yeah, no, honestly, it sounds like he's making a bigger deal out of it than everyone else did. Is that just me?
No, you're right.
I just like top comments.
And he's like, yeah, I didn't assume history began when I was born. Like what does that have to do with anything?
I like top comment says, did you say where's the beef as soon as you walked into the HR office?
Where's the beef?
Where's the beef?
Even I remember where's the beef, and I was born in the mid-90s. That was not that old. And I love how he's like, not the 1880s. I'm like, what? Okay.
See, like,
you do realize that
I want to hang with this guy. He knows all the good jingles.
Well, here's the thing. This was posted 3 days ago, so there isn't even anyone born in the 80s in their 20s anymore. Everyone born in the 80s is at least 32 now.
Well, I'm in my 20s and I know these commercials.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like, yeah, of course, it's like he said, yeah, we know, I know things that happened before my time. So do I. So does, like, anybody that bothers to do any research or keeps an open mind. Like the other day, I told somebody that I watched Mighty Morphin Power Rangers on TV, and they're like, oh my god, you're that old? And I'm like, there's such thing as reruns. Yeah. I didn't say that, but I'm thinking it. Like,
to me, this story just goes to show, you know, I think I just like the first update. I like where he goes into, you know, what is appropriate anymore. You know, like, because obviously the old way was untenable, but the new way just seems overly restrictive. And
well, here's the thing. That is true, but like if you're being an asshole, or if you're being like a creep, then you're being a creep. But in this case, I think it was just innocent. Just like there is a line, but some people try to make every situation into one that crosses it, when most of the time it doesn't even come close to it. Yeah. Like, I mean, I've never. And then there's a lot of like. There's a lot of like lookism that goes and stuff like that, like oh he can get away with it because he looks harmless and all that kind of stuff, and they blow things out of proportion if a person doesn't look a certain way in comparison to what they say. It's a sad reality that I have seen people I know go through, but this case, it was just an innocent little mistake in my opinion.
I think what I always say about situations like this is that I just wish people would give each other the benefit of the doubt more. You know,
I agree.
I don't think. Yeah. I don't like this new culture of running to HR every time you think something might have been inappropriate. Maybe, you know, like, give people.
It's like, could you imagine what would happen if like every person that saw something like that, like, here's the thing. It's lesser than this, but it's basically a small scale version of the person that reports every single thing they see to the cops. It's like, oh, somebody threw a fucking McDonald's wrapper on the ground. Let me go call the cops. Let me go call the cops on this guy who parked like slightly on the line. You know, eventually there's gonna be someone out there that has to tell people you can't waste our time with these little things. Mm-hmm. And that's obviously an exaggerated example, but that stuff does.
Okay.
Yeah, cut out.
You cut out there for a hot second.
Yeah, you cut out.
No, I cut myself off as I was saying happened. I'm really underestimating how much dialogue goes through before I press mute. Because you kept saying I had static, so now every time I stop talking, I press mute.
Yeah, wait like 1 second and then mute.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what but as I was saying, like, you can't report every little thing, because eventually it's gonna be like either the boy who cried wolf, or it's gonna be like, this isn't even worth reporting. It's like that one SpongeBob episode where he keeps calling Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy for emergencies, but all it is I can't open a jar of mayonnaise.
I love that episode.
It's like I can't open mayonnaise, and then there's the hooky one where here's my perfect Patrick Star impression. Well, then Mr. Krabs is just a big dummy. So are you gonna listen to a big dummy, or are you gonna listen to me?
That's not bad.
That's pretty good.
I can do a pretty decent Patrick. Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of opening jars, I didn't include this one, but I saw one that was like, "Am I the asshole for emasculating my husband for not being able to open a jar?" I'm like, yes, but this is too stupid to put on the podcast. So fuck you.
Patrick, it's like, Patrick, that's a pickle. Remember when I put my hand on the jar and I opened the jar?
Yeah, and I was just So congratulations to the woman who made fun of her husband for not being able to open a jar. You're so shitty. I didn't even want you on the podcast.
You're not Baka Gaijin show approved. Sorry, bitch.
Mm-hmm. You're not quite BGS material.
We have very exacting standards.
Yeah. So I did want to read this one about Neopets blowing themselves up by getting into NFTs, but this is a longer one, and we spent a lot of time on the Project Eden's Garden stuff, so maybe we'll save that for next episode.
Okay.
But let's get to the one I actually was excited about, which was so damning that OP deleted it from Reddit, and as soon as I saw it, I knew OP was going to delete it later, so I screenshotted everything relevant just in case, and I'm so fucking glad that I did.
Oh man, you hinted this to me like late last night, and I'm like, oh boy.
Yeah, OP thought he could hide, but you can't hide from me, buddy. I'm gonna expose your stupid ass.
So gonna take this one, right?
Yeah, I'm ready. This is a Tifu. This is a Today I Fucked Up. He classifies it as a medium fuck up. He says, "Today I fucked up by realizing I've been stealing hundreds of worth of snacks from a local homeless camp."
Oh!
What? How do you just realize that?
Oh, medium. Medium fuck up.
That's it. Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I just realized I stole hundreds of dollars worth of snacks. How did you just realize this?
From homeless people.
Okay.
That's a major fuck up. What does this guy think a major fuck up is?
Okay, let me read his story. Okay, so he says, "Okay, so I live near a church. It's on the way to my work. I walk to work since it's close by, and every now and then there's a box of snacks next to the dumpster. I'm talking the good shit. Boxes of small bags of Doritos, animal crackers, cases of Coca-Cola, and LaCroix. LaCroix's not the good shit. That was my first red flag with this guy.
This guy has low standards on snacks.
Shit I always want to buy but never justify it because it's either unhealthy or expensive, and it's always either on the dumpster or next to the dumpster. It's not marked in any way, so I assume it's, I don't know, Sunday school or Bible study leftovers. So I do what any sane person does, and I grab the dumpster food and enjoy it. I've been doing this for the past year or so. Every time I pass by it on my way from work, I check to see if there's more garbage goodies for me to plunder. Fast forward to a few days ago, I'm on my way back from work. I see a case of fizzy green tea, perfect for chasing vodka, I guess. I go up to it and grab it when a dude from behind yells at me. I freeze because I've never been confronted by anyone when taking dumpster food. Out steps a very large, greasy-looking fellow with the most tattered clothes I've ever seen. He slaps the case of tea out of my hands and starts going off about how, "You're the motherfucker who's been stealing from us!" I had no idea what the fuck was talking about, and I tried to explain that this was food the church was throwing out, so I thought. So I'd rather eat it than for it to go to waste. This pisses the guy off even more, and my back is up against the dumpster at this point. He gets in my face, pretty much spitting on me, and says, "No, you fucking dumbass! This is what the church donates to our camp!" Now I'm just afraid of saying anything to piss this guy much bigger, much angrier guy without any further. So I say, "I'm sorry," and try to get out of there, but he grabs me by the sweatshirt's hood, puts me in a chokehold at this point, saying something about how nobody fucks with me. and grabs my hair and slams my head into the dumpster. I'm terrified and... Mom, I'm reading stuff. Mom, I got too into it. My mom told me I was being too loud.
Okay. I'm not cutting that out of the episode.
No, don't. Yeah, that's fine. Where was I?
The benefits of being alone. I can speak as loud as I want. But I still have to keep it down. My neighbor can probably hear me through the walls.
Yeah. I'm terrified and try to wiggle myself out of this hole when he starts just pummeling my fucking face in, slams the bridge of my nose at the top of the dumpster, and I just start bleeding profusely. I finally wiggle my way out of his grasp, and the fat fucker tried to chase me. Luckily, since my building is just a few blocks away, I was able to get to safety pretty easily, but still, I learned one very important lesson. Don't steal a homeless fat man's Doritos. This is what I looked like about T6 days after this shit, but the dude's in jail now, and apparently this isn't his first time beating up random strangers, so hopefully he'll be locked up for a very long time. I'm gonna show you the picture.
Oh dear. Okay.
I'll DM it to you guys.
Yeah, I'm assuming. Yeah. Okay. Oh my god.
Okay. This is. Where's mine? This is what he looked like after 6 days.
Oh yeah, he got pretty beat up. Yeah, I can. I'm probably gonna edit that into the episode just so I can briefly show people. It's like this is what he posted.
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting him to be that young unless he just looks like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, at first, from reading this, you might think, okay, this guy fucked up and he got the shit kicked out of him. Might have been a bit of an extreme reaction on the homeless man's part, but then it gets deeper.
Okay.
Then we dig into the comments, and a commenter named Kuroi Makina said, hijacking top comment to say this. Check OP's posts in this thread. It paints a rather different story, one where, at best, both people are pieces of shit.
Oh, dear.
I walked in here upset about this kid getting beat up, and then I saw a bunch of posts of him acting like a self-justified asshole who knew exactly what he was doing and is dehumanizing people along the way. A good person does not respond the way OP is, so suddenly I wonder a bit more about the situation surrounding this. Assault wasn't justified at all, and I won't argue that, but if the person is a mentally ill homeless person, and OP is saying that they're, quote, subhuman shit stains, and yes, he said that verbatim, suddenly I'm beginning to feel that maybe OP needs to tone down that ego like 80%. Screenshots of some of his comments so he can't delete them. He did anyway, but I saved them, don't worry, Makina. Notice the complete narrative flip as soon as he's called out for being a piece of shit. And he leaves comments, quote, like, his username was greenguy97. Don't harass him or anything, but I'm just saying. Whatever. He says, I had no idea what I was doing, but I'm more than happy stealing from filth like that. Homeless provide less than nothing, and society would be better off without them.
Edgelord alert.
Oh no, I don't regard homeless as equal to myself. The evil. It's almost like they contribute nothing to society and are only a drain on resources. Wow, it sure would be a shame to view dependence on the welfare of society as just that, leeches on the welfare of society. No, magically, every life is equally as valid, from a young 29-year-old surgeon to the waste-of-life 23-year-old vagrant, hashtag all lives matter.
Wow.
I love how they pick such specific ages within the same age range for that extent.
That's the other thing. This guy's a surgeon in training.
The kid?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe he's not a kid then. Maybe he's like college, but still.
I had no. Fuck homeless people. Fuck leeches on society.
Oh my god, this is quickly turned from a today I fucked up to an am I the asshole?
If it was, yeah. I'm starting to feel a little bit less bad about you getting your shit kicked in. I wish it happened more often, honestly.
God. Is that a comment, or did you just say that?
No, I said that.
Yeah, that's...
Okay, I was gonna say, because I wouldn't be surprised if someone said that. You know, it's funny, when Zeke sent the picture, I was half expecting to see some, like, trashy, frat boy-looking bearded guy with blood running down his face. Not that.
Yeah, no, oof. Yeah, fuck this guy. Holy shit, man.
It may have been an honest mistake, but holy shit is his mindset about the whole incident paint him as a massive asshole.
Yeah, no, I would argue he probably deserved that beating.
Yeah. Yeah.
Get some perspective on life, motherfucker. Good God. Oh my. Oh.
Yeah, not doing yourself any favors there, buddy. So OP deleted that after he got enough backlash, but I managed to save that.
Thank you, because Jesus Christ. That was, well, that's quite the note to end on, I would say.
I think so as well. I think so as well.
Yeah, agreed there.
Yeah.
Well.
We go places on the Baka Gaijin show, Kevin.
We do. Sometimes the places we go are, quite unusual. I would say this is fairly unusual.
Yep, where no podcast goes before.
Da-na-na.
Dun, dun.
Anyway, I think that's gonna do it for this episode. All our segments and whatnot.
Yeah, boy.
Yeah.
Yep. Thank you, Minds, for joining us for this episode. Your perspective
Don't mention it.
and enthusiasm was well appreciated, and I hope you'll join us again sometime.
Yeah, totally. Don't mention it.
Yep. You can. This is where I do my end of episode spiel. You can email us with comments, questions, or concerns at bakagaijinshow@gmail.com. You can join our official Discord server in the link provided below. You can find Kevin and I at ZekeFreak on Twitter and at CCharmanderK on Twitter. You can find Minds on Twitter now at mindzmirrorz. You can also read his things on the Danganronpa Mino if you feel so inclined.
Oh, I gotta add something. I just had an archive of our own invitation today. So if you want to read my stories, I'll be uploading old ones there, and every one I make from here on out is going to be posted on both sites simultaneously. Same name.
Okay. Yeah, check them out on Archive of Our Own. I also have an archive of my own. You can read my fics on. I'm still very lazily eventually updating my Drex listing very slowly because I'm lazy, but it'll get done eventually. So yeah, check us out on AO3. And that's going to do it for this episode of the Baka Gaijin Show. This has been ZekeFreak. Ciao, ciao for now.